Chapter 1049. Whoosh. Lin Chen exited his seclusion and handed over all the cultivation to his clone. He rushed out of the water curtain cave alone. I knew you couldn't stay idle. Ning Qingxian stood above the clouds and smiled sweetly. Her beauty was unparalleled. This smile seemed to only bloom for one person. Lin Chen was stunned. Then, he smiled and said, Hee hee, Fairy Ning is the only one who knows me well. So, what are you going to do this time? The fairy landed beside him, as if she knew what he was thinking. Lin Chen said, Rumor has it that the southernmost area of Rainbow Island is full of ferocious beasts that love to kill. I'm going there to hunt ferocious beasts on a large scale. You help me injure the ferocious beasts and let my clone kill them. Ning Qingxian said, What about the ferocious beast cores? Lin Chen said, It doesn't matter. You can take them if you need them. If you don't need them, I'll use them as storage. That's right. The meaning of Lin Chen's action was to accumulate energy for the sovereign's descent talent. He was preparing for the final battle. 100 Saints Gate, 1000 Moon Holy Tower. How many years has it been since such a young guy dared to challenge the 100 Saints Gate? It took a lot of energy to cultivate so many young geniuses. This Black Horse Club is extremely arrogant. If it was a 5th-rank sect, I wouldn't dare to do anything to him. But it's actually a grade-less sect? Courting death. Inside the Holy Tower, in a spacious secret room, 3 auras as strong as the stars, sun, and moon suddenly shook and awakened. Ji Mei, go and bring him back. We want him alive. As soon as the voice fell, pink clouds rose, and the beautiful woman shrouded in the clouds giggled. Last time, I plucked old Monster Qiao from East Island. He died after a month. I'm looking forward to meeting a good man this time. Hongtian Hall. A storm destroyed the world and swept across the sky for thousands of miles. Within the storm, an old man yawned. They really want to kill me. First, they want me to go to the Dark Thunder Abyss, and now they want me to catch a young man called Lin Chen. These guys really know how to order people around. In the Sun-Moon Hall, thousands of moons rose above the sea, and the sun set to see the beauty. Lin Chen? Was he the guy who had massacred the genius list? Did he kill my disciple? The moon dimmed and the night fell. The beautiful woman in a fluttering moon dress stepped out of the darkness like a ray of light, shuttling through the void like an arrow. Lin Chen, I don't care where you come from, but the life of my disciple will be paid with blood. Qiyun Island. Emo Qing looked at her Grand Master and Grand Elders and sucked in a cold breath. All the elders had turned out in full force. Qing Yu, you are the only one in our family who has cultivated that secret technique. We believe in your judgment. His ancestor smiled and patted Emo Qingswan's shoulder. This is too big of a gamble, Grandmaster. Emo Qing shuddered slightly. This was putting the entire sect on the line. We have also gathered the information about the Black Horse Club as quickly as possible. This group of monstrous geniuses is worth our gamble. The Grandmaster held a horsetail whisk and smiled while stroking his beard. His eyes were filled with the light of wisdom. All the geniuses couldn't help but hold their breaths. This lineup was too terrifying. There was the president of a Tier 4 Chamber of Commerce, the Chun clan of a Tier 4 aristocratic family, the secret pavilion of a Tier 4 sect, the Cicada Saint and Mist Saint of the Mystic Realm, and the Crimson Great Saint of the vast Heaven Palace, one of the 4 saints of the Barbarian region. Just the number of saints who wanted to encircle the Black Horse Club exceeded 20. The third-grade sects of the Wonder Domain that helped Prince Lin Chen at the 4-way conference didn't come. I'm afraid they were held back by the other hidden pavilions of the Wonder Domain. And more saints may appear later. This time, how will he get through this difficulty? Lan Ruoshue's heart palpitated. The difficulty this time was far greater than the one at the 4-way conference. Time passed. On the 4th day, thousands of streaks of light descended from the sky. The geniuses held their breath. Many top geniuses were about to return. As the streaks of light descended, A large number of light beams descended from the Chilan cloud stage. Each beam of light was a figure, a skeleton, or a broken body. There were even some who only had a strand of hair left when they were teleported back. However, the saints and geniuses found that all the geniuses had dispirited and sad expressions. The women looked like they had overindulged and were listless. The men looked like they had weak kidneys and were completely hollowed out. Everyone was stunned. What was going on? Even Seiji Fuzumi and the one-eyebrow saint were dumbfounded. Shouldn't the Rainbow Island have some gains and great fortuitous encounters? In the past, at least half of the geniuses who came out of the Rainbow Island had some gains. They were all glowing with health and vigor. Even if they weren't in good shape, they still had a determined look. Why was it that this time, they all looked like they had been f***ed? Among this group of withered flowers, only the Chinese rose was particularly bright. The women of the heart-refining palace were very restrained. Only Lin Chun of the Black Horse Club was beaming with joy. There was a hint of lewdness in his coquettish aura. He was smiling like a Chinese rose. This Lin Chun can still smile. Did this kid pick up a beauty? He's smiling like a groom who has just entered the bridal chamber. All the geniuses were dumbfounded. Lin Chun sighed with emotion. Hey, Rainbow Island is so good. I'm so happy on this trip. Next time, I'll come again. I'll bring the girls of the Black Horse Club to eat hot pot, sing songs, and touch their waist. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Many of the geniuses present were so angry that they almost cursed. Good your sister. You even brought your family here for a sightseeing tour? Are you F***king saying that? You're happy, but your F***king happiness is based on our pain. All the good things have been F***king snatched by you. I really want to hit him. Brother Wong, hold it in. You can't beat him. Why did I enter the Rainbow Island with this god of plague? Who the F***ck did I owe in my previous life? F***ck. After so long, I only got an 8th grade herb. Everyone watched as the geniuses who were teleported back stared at Lin Chun as if he had killed their father. They couldn't help but be curious. What happened on Rainbow Island? The surviving geniuses of man you couldn't help but cry when they saw the heavenly lions, giant bears, and chilants in the sky. Old ancestor, you're finally here. It's this kid who killed our fellow Manu. He killed 74 of our geniuses in one breath. He killed all the geniuses of our 8 sects. That's right. Moreover, he robbed all of us. When the last 9-colored rainbow bridge appeared, everything was taken by him. All the geniuses were dumbfounded when they saw the burly men of Manu crying like children. What did they just hear? A 9-colored rainbow bridge. That was a legendary great opportunity that was hard to come by even in 10,000 years. Every time it appeared, the person who obtained it would definitely create a legend. Even a little bit of the 9-colored rainbow bridge's treasure would be infinitely useful. However, everything on the 9-colored rainbow bridge had been stolen by Lin Chun. Was he going to turn the world upside down? However, what happened next? Woo, senior brother Shiue, you must seek justice for Nangong and our dead junior brothers and sisters. The devastatingly beautiful woman from the Sun Moon Hall was weeping like a pear blossom in the rain. Anyone who saw her would feel pity for her. She sobbed as she spoke to the devilish youth in the void. Lin Chun pretended to be senior brother Nangong and used his identity to rob the Rainbow Island's sacred beasts. He framed us, the Sun Moon Hall, and caused us to be besieged by many sacred beasts. Our junior brothers and sisters finally managed to break out of the encirclement. Who would have thought that this brat would secretly ambush us? Half of our people were killed by the Black Horse Club. Upon hearing this, everyone, including the sages, were instantly dumbfounded. Their faces were filled with confusion. Chapter 1050. I didn't hear it wrong, did I? He stole the treasure of the 9-colored rainbow bridge and all the sacred beasts on Rainbow Island? Oh my God! How crazy is that? He repaired the seventh princess's appearance, used the Chen family's purgatory volcano island to set off fireworks, and massacred the genius list. Oh my God, the Black Horse Club doesn't follow common sense at all. Then, the last few remaining geniuses from the 100 Saints' Gate begged the stage elders in the void for help. Elder Xia, please seek justice for senior brother Dongfang. Not only did he frame senior brother, but he also stole the spiritual plant of Providence seed and orange grade technique from the 9-colored rainbow bridge. The sages sucked in a breath of cold air when they heard that. Their eyes were burning with greed. The geniuses were all stunned. The orange grade technique and the spiritual plant of Providence seed came out? Lin Chen smiled as he looked at the colorful faces of the crowd. There's no other way. As long as I'm fast enough, death won't be able to catch up with me. Before Seiji Fuzumi could speak, a terrifying pressure came from the void. Boom, boom, boom. The entire Kirin Cloud Island was shaking. The 4 sages of the barbarian realm, the Qihong Saint of the Hongtian Hall, the Tsanghai Saint of the 100 Saints' Gate, Mo Shiue of the Sun Moon Hall, the 2 sages of the Xuanyu, the 4 sages of the Qin family, the 3 sages of the Rank 4 Chamber of Commerce, the 4 sages of the Secret Pavilion, and the 5 sages of the Wonder Realm were all furious. What a Black Horse Club! Lin Chen, little brat, get your people out here. No one has killed so many geniuses from the Sun Moon Hall. You want to challenge our authority? I'll fulfill your wish. Tell that bastard Zhendishio to come out. My Qin family's sacred burning flame pearl isn't something you bunch of immature brats can eat. The sages were furious, and the geniuses on Kirin Cloud Island were pale. His expression was filled with pain. Even the energy shield of Kirin Cloud Island couldn't withstand the fury of more than 20 saints at the same time. Everyone, could it be that you want to break the rules? Saint One Eyebrow and Seiji Fuzumi stood in front of the geniuses and scolded them. In fact, they were also having a headache. According to the rules, as long as they were still on Qilin Island, they had to protect all the geniuses and prevent any private fights from happening. But in history, there had never been a force as crazy as the Black Horse Club. However, after leaving Qilin Island, it was no longer the scope of their responsibility. Therefore, they had to at least protect Lin Chen until the end of the ceremony. The 200 or so saints in the void were waiting to watch a good show. They were all retired saints, and most of them would not interfere in anything. At this moment, Lin Chen said cheerfully, "Seniors, I'll take responsibility for my own actions. You don't have to take responsibility for me." Seiji Fuzumi and Saint One Eyebrow looked at him deeply and slowly retreated. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Lin Chen stepped into the air and raised his middle finger at all the Saint Realm experts who were looking at him with hostility. Don't King grumble over there. Your disciples are not as strong as others, yet they still have ideas about me. Do you want me to stretch out my neck and let them kill me? They were purely courting death when they were killed by me. If I, Lin Chen, was killed by them, I'm afraid you old dogs would praise and reward them. You know the law of the jungle better than I do. Respect is always built on strength. If you want to cause trouble, then don't King talk so much nonsense. A bunch of losers who can't afford to lose. Isn't it just killing saints? I've already killed more than 1 or 2 saints. I don't mind killing a bunch of you today. Lin Chen grinned coldly and overflowed with arrogance, intimidating the crowd. Killing saints. To a battle emperor, this would only exist in legends. A battle emperor challenging a saint and killing a saint were 2 completely different concepts. You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. A strong gust of wind tore through space. Bear Saint of Man Yu was dozens of feet tall, and his eyes were the size of basins. He was like a beast in human form. His strength tore through space and instantly flashed to Lin Chen's side. His 5 fingers had the power to shatter the void, and the wind from his fist shook heaven and earth as he punched Lin Chen in the face. There were no fancy techniques, only pure strength. Before the fist arrived, the wind from the fist had already crushed the 300-meter space crystal wall around Lin Chen into pieces. Bah! Bang! Boom! A mushroom cloud exploded in the sky above Qilin Island. The prodigies couldn't see it clearly, but the more than 200 saints saw it clearly. At the very center of the mushroom cloud, Bear Xing's fist was stopped in its tracks by the palm that was burning with the divine light of the crimson heavens. When Lin Chen opened his eyes again, his violent battle intent shook the heavens. At this moment, more than 20 Saint Realm experts who were besieging Lin Chen were finally shocked. Lin Chen's body was surrounded by the crimson heaven divine light, and his eyes were like stars that had been shining for billions of years. His sharp eyebrows were burning with a crimson flame, and his spirit was as deep as the universe. He was like a god who had descended to the mortal world. His shoulders held up the sky, and he was like a ghost from hell. He released a bit of qi that could split the heavens and earth. His battle aura condensed into 20 hexagonal stars, shining brightly, and rapidly growing the destructive ninth tribulation holy qi. Lin Chen's 5 fingers clenched Bear Saint's fist tightly, and he even slightly bent Bear Saint's arm. His strength was like the king of the world. All the saints sucked in a cold breath. He caught Bear Saint's fist with one hand, using pure strength to suppress pure strength. Bang! Before the prodigies could see what happened, Bear Saint was sent flying thousands of meters away. What's going on? The Saint of Man Yu was sent flying? Where's Lin Chen? What's going on with Lin Chen? Why can't I sense his qi anymore? All the prodigies were in a panic. Only the saints could vaguely see that Lin Chen's speed was 100 times faster than the speed of sound, and he simply used his knee to send Bear Saint flying with pure strength. 20 Saint Caves? He's also a saint? Peak Second Tribulation Saint? Impossible. If he's a saint, how could he enter the Rainbow Island? His body-refining strength has surpassed Bear Saint's. All the saints were shocked, and the saints of the secret pavilion stared at Lin Chen. Tianma, who was injured, gritted his teeth and said, "So he's been holding back all this time. He didn't even use his full strength that day." The king of Fu Xing Nation was overjoyed. Great. He still has such a trump card, and the Black Horse Club still has a chance to escape. Orange rank, 1 time. Active talent, God Slayer successfully activated. Those who are hostile to the host. 3,711 Fifth Tribulation Combat Emperors, 41 Saint Realm Cultivators. Including spiritual power, extreme dragon power, and battle qi, the total increase in strength. 174,596 times. While the God Slayer talent is active, the host will not be able to obtain any light balls with growth attributes, and the number of light balls with non-growth attributes dropped will be reduced. 170,000 times. This time, Lin Chen used the God Slayer talent to increase his strength by 175,000 times, which was only second to the 300,000 times when he challenged the false god. However, Lin Chen's cultivation base and strength were as different as heaven and earth from back then. I can freely control the various transformations of my Saint Qi, which fulfills the basic requirement to cultivate God's tears. Lin Chen was overjoyed and gave the order. Consumed 8,000 advanced cultivation technique soul essences. Integrating the first level of God's tears. A huge amount of cultivation memories were integrated into the 5 clones of the peach garden plant pouch. Lin Chen didn't need to split his attention, he only needed to integrate the cultivation memories into the clones. The power of the God Slayer talent is only second to the time when I fought the false god. This is a saint point. Lin Chen's thoughts flashed like lightning, and he instantly sized up the 6-pointed star in his body. When a battle emperor became a saint, he had to open a saint point to absorb the saint qi of heaven and earth and convert his battle qi into saint qi. 1 to 10 saint points was the first level of the saint realm. 11 to 20 saint points was the second level of the saint realm. After using the God Slayer talent, Lin Chen opened up 20 illusory saint points, which was equivalent to the peak of the second level of the saint realm. Every saint point was filled with a vast space, and it was like a new world that contained a huge amount of light. This was Lin Chen's 9 tribulations Saint Chi. His fleshly body seemed to contain an endless amount of power. Lin Chen could now destroy a few hundred of his previous self with a single finger. My spiritual power is at the transcendent saint realm, and my pure strength is at 3 billion dragon power. Lin Chen's eyes shone with a domineering battle intent. He had just played his first trump card. Chapter 1051. After Lin Chen received Bear Sage's punch and sent him flying, all the true saints regained their senses in less than a breath's time. He still has such a trump card hidden up his sleeve. What a terrifying young man. Let's attack together and kill him. All the true saints were extremely experienced in battle. Their eyes flashed fiercely, and they weren't intimidated by Lin Chen. They moved to one side and surrounded Lin Chen. Everyone, don't underestimate him. Take him down. Just as Lian Wanjin's voice fell, Saint Chi Hong of the Hongtian Hall exploded in anger. A finger of holy light that could sweep through mountains and rivers shot towards Chen Xiaoyan. Chi. The palm of holy light shattered the finger of holy light. Pung, pung, pung. More than a dozen rays of holy light collided into each other. Lin Chen, this old man is the founder of the Heavenly Ghost Divination Palace. Today, I will lead 3 true saints to assist in the battle. Lin Chen, little fellow, quickly leave with the Black Horse Club. Leave this place to us. Mo Qing, the king of the Fu Saint country, and Poison Sage, you all transmitted their voices to Lin Chen. Fu Saint country and Poison Sage, you made up a total of 4 true saints. They blocked the 4 true saints of the Qin family. The Heavenly Ghost Divination Palace and the Ancestral Master were also 4 saints. They blocked the 4 saints of Manyu. Each had their own strengths, but at least they had 8 saints helping them. They blocked the other 8 saints. Even so, there were still the 2 Xuanyu saints, the Songhai Saint of the 100 Saints Gate, Mo Xiue of the Sun Moon Hall, Qi Hong of the Hongtian Hall, the 3 true saints of the Chamber of Commerce, the 4 true saints of the Secret Pavilion, and the 5 true saints of the Mystic Realm. There were still 17 true saints, 9 First Heaven true saints, 5 Second Heaven true saints, and 3 Third Heaven true saints. Want to run? You won't have the chance. Bind Saint Rope. Lian Wanjin sneered and raised his hand. 3 rays of golden light shot out like dragons and coiled around Lin Chen. Lin Chen was shocked. This golden rope could actually bind his strength and 9 tribulations holy chi temporarily. 17 Saint Realm experts. This brat can't beat them. They even used the Saint binding rope. These guys are determined to capture this kid. The Saint Realm experts watching the battle sighed in their hearts. The moment Lin Chen was bound by the holy rope, a strange phenomenon occurred. The host has activated 13 types of blue rank advanced sure-kill skills. The target has been locked and the attack has begun. Remaining advanced blue rank sure-kill skills, 39. Lightning bolts that resembled lightning dragons appeared out of nowhere and struck the 4 saints of the Dark Pavilion. The dark green tornado transformed into a giant beast and swallowed Cicada Saint, Mist Saint, and the other saints of the mystic region. Waves of ice appeared out of nowhere and coiled around Qi Hong, Songhai Saint, and the others like ice dragons. Is this the unavoidable energy attack that the secret pavilion mentioned? It is indeed strange. Tens of thousands of layers of holy light illuminated the sky. The saints' holy points were filled with clouds and rosy clouds. They either transformed into flying sword tigers, or had layers of moon curtains, or had sword lights swirling around to resist Lin Chen's sure-kill skills. The demonic white-clothed youth withstood the power of the sure-kill skills and instantly teleported in front of Lin Chen. It was Emo Shiue of the Sun Moon Hall. His right arm flashed with a dazzling low-grade Yang Odd crystal. The 9 layers of sun wheel above his head was so strong that it was almost heaven-defying. He withstood 3 of Lin Chen's sure-kill skills and was still able to move freely. Mere insignificant skills are useless against me. Lowly mortal, I'll take one of your arms first. Emo Shiue held the holy sword abyss-splitting in his hand. The sword wind split the air as a blade, cutting open a spatial abyss and slashing down at Lin Chen's shoulder. Evil wind slash. Bang. A touch of pure gold brilliance emerged, and the cry of a phoenix from hell shook the sky. The tip of the spear swept out horizontally, and the spear and sword collided, shooting out rays of light in all directions. The sword light dissipated, and the sword light didn't cut into Lin Chen's body? The aftermath of the collision caused both sides to retreat. Lin Chen retreated 100 steps, and Emo Shiue retreated 50 steps. The two of them crushed the spatial crystal wall into paste. Lin Chen's body surface circulated with indestructible golden gung holy qi. Even if he combined pure strength and holy qi to block the sword aura still broke his strongest defense. He held a pure gold spear in his hand. The spear tip was 3 feet long, and the spear body was engraved with golden phoenix feathers. The blade was like a xiangang, and it was inlaid with the sacred beast core of the extreme nether golden phoenix. The sharpness of this spear could be felt from 100 miles away. The saints who were hit by the sure-kill skills were shocked. Wasn't this kid bound by the holy binding rope? How did he untie it? At this moment, everyone noticed that the holy binding rope was quickly burning and falling off. Lin Chen's body was burning with orange brilliance, like a ball of flame, illuminating the darkness. This kid used some kind of secret technique to burn his own life essence, activating the quasi-orange fatal death talent, starting to burn the host's life force. Based on the host's original Fourth Tribulation War Emperor cultivation, the host's power will increase by 13 times every second. The talent cannot be removed until the target dies. This time, Lin Chen had set Ying Tian Mo as his ultimate target. So powerful! The holy weapon infused with holy qi is on a completely different level from the one I used when I was a war emperor. Lin Chen was shocked. If the power of a holy weapon used by a war emperor was 10, then the power of a holy weapon used by a saint was more than 10,000. The difference was like heaven and earth. This kid's spear is a second-grade holy weapon, the 200 saints in the clouds exclaimed. Collecting his thoughts, Lin Chen transmitted his voice to the saints. I'm sorry, King of Fu Saint Country, and seniors of Heavenly Ghost Divination Palace, I have no intention of running away today. Lin Chen's murderous aura was awe-inspiring. These people are not qualified to eat me, Lin Chen. Today, I will slaughter a saint again. The geniuses on the prodigy ranking were stunned. Lin Chen could use the power of a saint? So he was still holding back when he was on Rainbow Island. If he used this move on Rainbow Island, he didn't even need to rely on those strange attacks. He could suppress us with just his strength alone. We are convinced of our loss. What a monster! How old is he? If he can survive today, won't he be able to enter the prodigy ranking? The geniuses from Rainbow Island were dumbfounded. No wonder he was able to nurture a genius like Shen Lingshuang. He himself was as strong as a monster. Ning Qingxian and Shen Lingshuang clenched their fists. If Lin Chen couldn't pass this stage, their future would be filled with endless revenge. In the void, lightning, astral wind, heavenly fire, and a large amount of energy enveloped the 17 saints. Only a few saints could move freely. Interesting. Emo Shiue was slightly surprised as she resisted 3 sure-kill moves. She sneered. A saint is not something your battle emperor cultivation can compare to. You still want to challenge someone of a higher realm? Dream on. Clang. A dragon's roar came out of the saber. A saber light that could cut through the heavens slashed towards Lin Chen like snow. It was Hongtian Hall's Qi Hong. He was a saber saint. They were both in the third heaven saint realm, but he could resist Lin Chen's sure kill moves and move freely. He slashed out with his saber to suppress Lin Chen. Lin Chen held the spear with both hands and infused the 9 tribulations, holy qi, into the serene phoenix holy spear. Imperial sky. Lin Chen swept across the sky. Billions of dragon power burst forth with sky-shattering energy, charging and penetrating runes. The tip of the spear burst forth with an arrow-like golden rainbow that crossed the sky. Chapter 1052. Qi. Bang. When the snowflake saber light and the golden rainbow collided, it shattered the void. Unexpectedly, Lin Chen was able to receive Qi Hong's saber strike. The blade qi surged and bombarded Lin Chen's chest, shattering his imperial heaven metal qi. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth as he retreated rapidly. Buzz. Ripples appeared in the space as a giant hand of holy light that rolled up a dark blue sea mist furiously slapped Lin Chen's head. The Songhai Saint, a third heaven true saint, had also made his move. Annihilation. Lin Chen was already prepared. He clenched his teeth and formed a hand seal. A beam of annihilation's spiritual light collided with the holy light hand and shattered it. The aftershock of the pale blue holy light shook Lin Chen's entire body, causing his bones to crack. I have to say, you're really a freak to be able to withstand my blade technique with your second heaven true saint cultivation. I'm afraid this spear technique is already at the orange tier. Qi Hong sneered disdainfully as he stepped into the air with his blade. A whirlpool of blade qi appeared above his head, twisting and turning the numerous attacks of the sure kill technique. He was completely unharmed. The Songhai Saint was dressed in a hemp robe. His eyes were blue as he said indifferently, "You also have the strength of a peak second heaven true saint. What an interesting young man. Not to mention the other 14 people, any third heaven true saint here is enough to kill you. Why don't you just surrender obediently and avoid all this suffering? Perhaps you can even die a quick death." All the true saints watching the battle shook their heads and sighed. This battle is too difficult. The Black Horse Club has no hope. Unless he steps into the fourth heaven true saint realm, it will be difficult for him to escape. The true saints watching the battle shook their heads. There was almost no such thing as challenging someone of a higher level in the true saint realm. Especially when it came to challenging someone of a higher level. There were very few examples in the history of the sacred boundary. There was an absolute difference between a first heaven true saint realm expert who had opened 1 saint point and a true saint realm expert who had opened 2 saint points. Every time a saint point was opened, the amount of holy qi it could contain would increase exponentially. It was too difficult for a sage expert to challenge someone at a higher level. It was like 2 people of the same build and similar fighting skills, but your opponent was twice as strong as you. How could you fight? In order to make up for this huge difference, the only way was to use orange tier cultivation methods and low-grade odd crystals. Of course, this possibility referred to the situation of a one-on-one battle. However, Lin Chen wanted to take on 17 players by himself. It was impossible. The difference between 11 and 21 saint apertures was the difference between cultivation realms. There were 3 people present who could suppress Lin Chen with their cultivation realms alone. Mo Xiue, Songhai Saint, and Qi Hong could easily suppress him. None of the saints believed that Lin Chen could break out of this predicament. The Black Horse Club was doomed. The only possibility was that the 8 sages were risking their lives to protect Lin Chen. This was his only chance. On the other side, Bear Saint and Jiao Saint of Man, you sneered at the monarch of Fu Saint Nation and the others. TSK, it's a pity that he didn't accept your good intentions. Instead, he insisted on risking his life. The monarch laughed. We never regret our actions. We have witnessed too many miracles along the way. Today is no exception. We believe that this little guy is brave but not smart. He was extremely calm, and the holy light shooting out from his fingertips became even faster. On the other side, the Chun family's Saint Realm old ancestor glared at Heavenly Ghost Divination Palace and the others. Scram, old fart from the mystic realm. What are you doing in the southern region? If you offend my Chun family, I will make sure you have no descendants. Hee, then let's see who has no descendants. Our Mo brat has never misjudged anyone. This old man also believes in his foresight. No matter what the result is, we will witness it to the end. Heavenly Ghost Divination Palace's ancestor smiled lightly and tried his best to block the opponent's saint. The 16 saints fought until the sky turned dark. Even Saint One Brow and Seiji Fuzumi had to use all their strength to protect Qilin Island. The sun wheel above her head took on the attack of the sure-kill technique. Emo Shiua held her sword and slashed diagonally. Her 21 saint apertures shone brightly. Let's see how long you can last. Emo Shiua raised her sword. Hundreds and thousands of sword aura lotuses bloomed in the sky. Each of them hid a peerless sharpness and surrounded Lin Chen. Lin Chen's holy phoenix wings flapped rapidly. He used Dragon Flash. The afterimages of the Dragon Phoenix flashed one after another. The sword lotuses shattered the afterimages. Lin Chen looked at them and dodged. He shuttled through the void and traveled dozens of miles in an instant. Holy Phoenix Wings? Your movement technique is not bad. You can't escape from my palm. When Qi Hong sneered, the blade slashed vertically. The blade aura was like a falling galaxy. It furiously slashed the space behind Lin Chen and split open the void. Kid, you don't have a chance. Songhai Saint condensed 10 holy light mist dragons and attacked Lin Chen from all directions. The attack was too strong. Lin Chen would definitely be distracted. He had to use all his strength to deal with any attack. Bang! Songhai Saint and Qi Hong's Saint Qi collided and hit nothing. The saints were stunned. A pitch-black shadow covered Lin Chen's purple-red phoenix wings. A pair of star-like eyes opened from the wings. Innate dark shadow? That's right. It's said that this kid can run until now because of a young innate dark shadow. Something's not right. This dark shadow is giving me a strange feeling. More than 200 saints were shocked and astonished. Little fellow, it's time to work. Lin Chen smiled at little dark shadow behind him. Purple lightning exploded above little dark shadow's head and condensed into 4 words, "Fight your mother." The God Slayer had increased Lin Chen's pure strength and the speed of his holy phoenix wings. However, this didn't mean that Lin Chen's speed could suppress the 3/3 Heaven True Saints. He could only dodge part of their attacks. None of the 3 saints' movement techniques were inferior to Lin Chen's. Not to mention, their cultivation realm suppressed Lin Chen. In terms of speed, Lin Chen still had to rely on little dark shadow to increase his speed. Qi. The Een lightning shattered, the astral winds dissipated, and the heavenly flames extinguished. The saints of the Secret Pavilion and Thousand Gold Association were freed from the tide of killing moves. The first round of attacks ended, and the saints on the other side didn't suffer any injuries. The 17 saints faced Lin Chen from afar, and killing intent filled the air. Rumble! Another change occurred. A green cloud appeared in the sky, and a green ox appeared. An old man in sackcloth sat on the back of the ox. Little Qingxian, my old bones aren't of much use to you. The old man in sackcloth held a straw in his hand as his gaze swept across the saints present. There are quite a lot of old friends here today. It's old ghost Ao Qing from the innumerable Green Palace. That old bastard is here too? Seiji Fuzumi exclaimed in shock. Ning Qingxian floated into the air and sent a voice transmission. Master, please help Lin Chen. I'll try my best. The old man in sackcloth nodded. He rode the green ox to Lin Chen's side. Senior, you are? Lin Chen was curious. The old man didn't seem to be hostile toward him. I'm an old fellow from the innumerable Green Palace. You must be Lin Chen. Ao Qing looked at Lin Chen's condition and couldn't help but sigh. He's really going all out. He's even burning his life force. Lin Chen was relieved. So it was the reinforcements that Qing Xian had called for. Qi. A ray of sword qi slashed toward Ao Qing. The old man's eyes turned cold. He grabbed with one hand and crushed the sword qi. Old bastard, don't get in the way. Mo Xiue chided sternly. Otherwise, I'll kill you too. This old fellow is extraordinary. Let me hold him back. You guys go and capture that kid. The Shanghai Saint stood facing Ao Qing. Both of them looked at each other. An old opponent from back then, maybe there's still a chance. Now that the combat power of the Third Heaven Saint realm has been reduced by 1, Lin Chen might be able to escape if he can use that undodgeable energy attack again and use the innate Shadow Realm to force his way out, just as the 200-plus Saint Realm experts were trying to see through the situation suddenly changed. Rumble! A ball of scarlet divine flames descended on Kirin Cloud Island like a divine fire from the 9 heavens. From the scarlet divine flames, a woman in red walked out slowly. She was so beautiful that she could topple cities. A pair of flame-like eyes scanned the entire place. Just a faint aura of power was enough to stun the few hundred Saint Realm experts present. This was an existence that was close to being invincible. Lin Chen's eyes trembled. This woman was the woman from the Divine Flame Palace who had personally suppressed all the demonic eyes in the Jiuzhou continent and taken Bai Ruoyan away. Chapter 1053. Lin Chen knew this woman in red very well. The day when she suppressed the 9 regions demon eye was still vivid in his mind. She actually came personally? Who is this woman? What a terrifying aura! Could it be that this woman has already stepped into that realm? All the sages present were shocked. Yo, Lin Chen, I haven't seen you in a while. I didn't expect to see you either fighting with your life on the line. The woman in the divine flame smiled at Lin Chen. The dozens of sages' hearts skipped a beat. Mo Xiue of the Sun Moon Hall and Qi Hong of the Hongtian Hall both revealed a deep fear. Could it be that she was the backer of the Black Horse Club? If that was the case, then there was no need to fight today. Not to mention 20 sages, even if more than 200 sages swarmed her, they wouldn't be enough to kill her. This woman alone could suppress all the sages present. Senior, you're still so strong. Lin Chen grinned. The two of them looked at each other. The woman in the divine flame's eyes were stunned. She saw an intense fighting spirit in this man's eyes, looking down on the world. He didn't have any expectations for her. Sister, you're finally here. Hurry up and help Master. At this moment, a petite figure pounced on the woman in the divine flame. The woman in red smiled sweetly and said, "Didn't I tell you that you can't use that talisman unless your life is in danger? Once you use it, it means that 3 months have passed and you have to return with me." Shen Lingshuang felt wronged and hurriedly said, "Lingshuang doesn't mind going back, but sister, you have to help Master. These bad guys have chased Master all the way. I won't help him." The woman in red interrupted Shen Lingshuang, scaring the little girl. She looked at Lin Chen. "Lin Chen, kid, I came here purely for Lingshuang. It has nothing to do with you. I won't interfere with your life or death. If you can't even pass this stage, don't talk about getting on the demon genius list. You won't even be qualified to see your woman." Her words stirred up 1,000 waves. The geniuses of Qilin Island sucked in a breath of cold air. All the saints were astonished. In order to meet his woman, he had to at least be listed on the monster genius list? What kind of background did this Lin Chen's woman have? The sage experts who had surrounded Lin Chen unconsciously let out a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the worst outcome hadn't happened yet. "Don't worry, I'm not counting on you." Lin Chen smiled indifferently. "Senior, please go to the side and drink some tea. I will solve my own problems." The woman in red gave him and the innate dark shadow behind him a meaningful glance. Then, she held Shen Lingshuang's hand and flashed away. Shen Lingshuang was so anxious that she started crying. Her small eyes were red as she said, "Sister, you," the woman in red scolded, "what are you crying for? This is the path your master has chosen. No one can help him. Lin Chen, you haven't truly come to our world yet. You don't know the cruelty of the other side of the sacred boundary. If you can't even deal with these crooks, then you might as well go to sleep." The lady in red stared at Lin Chen with a deep gaze. Bang! With a loud bang, the Songhai Saint and Ao Qing of the innumerable Green Palace had clashed. Whoosh! Four ghostly shadows appeared behind Lin Chen. Ying Mie, Ying Tianma, and the other 4 saint assassins of the Dark Pavilion were waiting for the chance to sneak attack Lin Chen. With a flash, the holy light dagger pierced Lin Chen's heart. Ying Mie's palms were aimed at Lin Chen's head and other vital points. Lin Chen's hand was like a sword as he slashed forward. 3 billion dragon power points exploded and cut open the spatial crystal wall. He slashed the dagger with one hand. At the same time, Lin Chen lowered his head and turned around. The tip of his spear surged as he flicked Ying Tianma's walking stick away. His leg was like an axe as he smashed forward. Life and death absolute force was like a coiling dragon as he took the attacks of the 4 saints head-on. Consumed 13 talent points. Triggered fatal bloodlust. Received actual healing effect, 49%. Activated assault, ripping talent. Rip, bang, bang, bang. The 4 saints were pushed back. Attack together and take down this kid. Lian Wanjin shouted angrily. Qin Zhentian suddenly pulled out his sword and pointed it at Lin Chen. Lin Chen moved his body and dodged the sword. He swung his spear horizontally and smashed Mist Saint and Cicada Saint, who were hiding in the void. He retreated with one spear strike. Rip! The palm strike hit Lin Chen's back. It was actually an afterimage? Lin Chen transformed into Dragon Flash and stepped forward. The dragon-like sword light crushed all the afterimages. The space for Lin Chen to dodge became smaller and smaller. Whoosh! The bright blood chi saber slashed at Lin Chen's head. The attack came too quickly. Lin Chen activated Imperial Sky Defense and blocked with his spear, but he was still slashed into the sea by the saber. Woo! Woo! 2 battle aura sacred whales, which were thousands of feet long, jumped out of the sea and crashed into Lin Chen's back. Lin Chen spat out blood and gritted his teeth. The fighting spirit in his eyes did not decrease at all. A spiritual annihilation light beam swept out from his glabella and shattered the 2 blue whales. Continuous activation of ultimate restoration. Consumed 23 mid-level talent points, 18 talent points. Lin Chen was bathed in blood. He was in the healing state of ultimate restoration almost all the time. He also chewed Long Qingguo and swallowed the sacred healing item glazed Bodhi seed from time to time. He was fighting with his life. Roar! Roar! High up in the sky, the 2 saints of Xuanyu attacked together. Their palms met the attack, and a holy light palm print of more than 10 acres came crashing down. The other saint formed a hand seal and pushed with both hands. 3 red rings enveloped Lin Chen and restrained more than half of his pure strength. Mo Shiue drew his sword and slashed out 7 slashes. Each slash was an extreme half-orange grade sword art. It was like a dragon in the clouds and a tiger in the wind. The power of the Yang Odd crystal was displayed to the extreme. Lin Chen broke through the red rings with pure strength. The tip of his spear met the attack, creating afterimages as he pushed forward layer by layer. Bang! 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 Tearing talent activated. The spear tore through the holy light giant hand, sending a few sword aura lotus flowers and flying sword tigers into pieces. The Imperial Sky Spear technique was executed to the extreme. With the addition of 2 attack runes, it erupted with the peerless power of an orange-grade battle technique. Lin Chen was facing the attacks of Mo Shiue and the other saints. A wisp of sword aura and blade aura were like maggots attached to bones, slashing towards Lin Chen from both sides. The entire Qilan island was on the verge of collapse. The energy shield trembled several times, and the nearby sea was even stirred up. It was too fast. It was like a violent storm. The attacks of the saints were all aimed at Lin Chen's blind spot. Even with the speed advantage of Little Shadow, it was difficult to make up for the fatal difference of 2 fists can't fight 4 hands. Not to mention the saints, even the geniuses could see that Lin Chen was completely holding on. If this continued, even if he was a tempered saint, his spiritual power, battle chi cultivation, and 3 saints, he would be exhausted to death. Not to mention the joint attack of 16 Sage Realm cultivators. Just Qi Hong and Mo Xieyue alone were enough to suppress Lin Chen. The attacks of the other saints were aggravating the process. I admit your strength, but it's still too early for you to fight with us. The illusory power will eventually be overdrawn. Trying to rely on 1.5 orange-grade combat skills to challenge me is wishful thinking. Lose. Qi Hong slashed again. The sky split open, and the terrifying aura twisted the galaxy. Chi. Bang. The wind and clouds suddenly changed. The thunderclouds above the 16 saints exploded, and purple lightning flashed. It was either a raging sea, or a raging yellow sand, rolling up thousands of layers of sandstorms, or a purgatory rain of fire. The host has activated 13 surekill skills. The target has been locked and the attack has begun. Remaining blue rank surekill skills, 26 times. How many more of these strange attacks does this kid have? Don't mess up the formation. He can't break it. Defend first. Yingmie and Lian Wanjin stabilized the killing intent of the saints because these attacks didn't pose much of a hindrance to Qi Hong and Mo Xieyue. Qi. The sun-wheel sword aura above their heads cut through the yellow sandstorm and continued to cut through the bombardment of purple lightning. Mo Xieyue and Qi Hong surrounded Lin Chen, who was covered in blood, from left and right. Brat, you should know that these attacks are useless against us. It seems that this is your limit. Die. Qi Hong and Mo Xieyue each attacked, wanting to disable Lin Chen. Rip. 2 grayish-white talismans appeared out of nowhere, suppressing ghosts and sealing saints. Space froze. The attacks of the 2 became especially slow. Boom. Lin Chen's aura surged wildly. His spear pierced the sky, and a golden rainbow flashed. It actually split into 5? Bang. 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 The golden rainbow pierced through the sky. The saber aura exploded and the sword aura collapsed. The golden rainbow collided in front of the 2, and the saints were sent flying. Many Sage Realm experts stared at the 2 sages in disbelief. This was the first time since the start of the battle that Qi Hong and Mo Xieyue's attacks had been broken and repelled. Lin Chen held the Dark Phoenix battle spear and stood against the wind. He grinned evilly and overflowed with arrogance. I've delayed enough. Next, it's time to play my 3rd and 4th trump cards. Chapter 1054. If he only had 2 trump cards, the blue rank advanced sure kill technique, and the God Slayer, Lin Chen wouldn't have a chance to turn the tables against so many saints. Lin Chen clearly felt the difficulty of fighting someone of a higher rank in the saint realm, especially with 21 saint points. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Lin Chen had a saint artifact, but so did his opponents. Lin Chen's mental cultivation method was close to the orange rank after being strengthened, but the other's mental cultivation method wasn't inferior either. Lin Chen could unleash the power of an orange rank combat technique, but the other's cultivation suppressed him. Lin Chen had transcendent spirit power and 3 billion dragon power points in the saint realm. Mo Xieyue, who was a genius saint, had a low-grade odd crystal that boosted his cultivation greatly. Qi Hong was a sword saint with pure sword Dao, and his lethality was as terrifying as a sword saint of the same rank. Lin Chen's spiritual power and pure strength advantage didn't play a decisive role in front of these two people. Even if he fought Emo Shiue or Qi Hong alone, Lin Chen might not be a match for either of them. And this was under the condition that they had a part of their strength tied down by the sure kill technique. This battle couldn't be compared to the battle between fake gods. When they fought fake gods, they were seriously injured and their attacks were limited, so they didn't dare to fight Lin Chen head-on. Plus, they had the sun god talent back then. 16 saints, except for Ying Tianma, were all in their peak condition. In a battle between saints, challenging someone of a higher rank was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. But Lin Chen still had a backup plan. Now it's my turn to attack. Lin Chen laughed and unsheathed his sword. The sword was like a dragon's roar, and he changed his spear for a sword. The sword was red and domineering, like the sword of a king. Lin Chen injected his holy qi and slashed down with his sword. The orange sword rainbow slashed in all directions. The sword rainbow divided the sea, and the sword slashed the sky. One sword turned into 5, and 5 rainbows pierced the sky. One sword slashed the 9 heavens. At this moment, the eyes of the red-dressed woman from Xinyan Palace, who had retreated to the side, lit up. Interesting. Lin Chen, you're really not simple. Qi Hong's aura surged to the heavens. The blood-light saint saber slashed through the air. The saber qi turned into a dragon. The blood-marked dragon swallowed the heavens and the earth. The saber qi overflowed. Blood-devouring mad dragon. The power of Emo Shiue's holy sword skyrocketed. When the holy light surged like a dragon into the sword, it transformed into a sword of flowing light that was hundreds of feet long. Its entire body burned with the holy light of sun fire. True burning sun sword. Emo Shiue raised her sword and swiftly waved it. 100 zhang long sword light angrily slashed out. Rip, bang. The two people's attacks finally cut through the 5 sword rainbows with great difficulty. Emo Shiue's burning sun sword was suddenly torn into pieces. The 30% penetration power penetrated his sword qi defense for the first time. Emo Shiue vomited blood. After a quarter of an hour of fighting, Emo Shiue was injured. Beside him, there were more than a dozen attribute light balls that were dazzling and translucent. These attribute light balls far exceeded the Battle Emperor's attribute light balls. The 200-plus Sage Realm experts who were watching the battle sucked in a breath of cold air. What kind of divine ability is this? He can actually divide an orange-tier combat skill into 5 without any reduction in power? Even the knowledgeable sages who had experienced all kinds of things had never heard of such a divine ability. Oh, you're quite capable. The red-dressed woman raised her eyebrows. She didn't expect Lin Chen to have such a move. My fire and water elemental attributes are the highest. Then, let's determine the winner before the killing move is used up. Consumed 800 points of advanced rune energy. Whoosh. Another 2 slowing runes were cast, and the space above their heads exploded. This move again. This kid can even seal our space. Qi Hong was shocked, and Emo Shiue's expression was horrified. The white dragon shadow flashed behind the two of them. Lin Chen held the azure moon tightly this time and slashed horizontally at their backs. The bright moon-like blade light exploded, and the bright moonlight chilled 14 provinces. Instant light split shadow. Mirror moon imperial god. Whoosh. The world seemed to be illuminated by the moonlight in an instant, and all the sages felt the aurora of the water moon fill the world. Qi Hong's aura pierced through the sky, and the blade slashed out a world shrouded in blood. The blood moon hung high, and blood butterflies danced in the air. Under the beauty was a murderous intent that was like purgatory in the human world. Emo Shiue summoned the blazing sun burning sky with her sword and slashed rapidly. The blazing sun instantly crushed down from the 9 heavens, stirring up the water moon blade light. Bang! Bang! Boom! The sea shook, and the spatial crystal wall cracked like a giant python spreading across the entire sky. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth exploded into balls and was drawn in endlessly. Emoshiue used all her divine abilities and unique skills. She finally didn't hold back. They no longer regarded Lin Chen as a junior who was far inferior to them, but as an opponent of the same level. All the sages were stunned. The geniuses' teeth chattered as they witnessed this earth-shattering scene. Lin Chen was actually facing Emoshiue and Qi Hong head-on, and they were exchanging blows. He was fighting 1 against 2, and in a situation where he was challenging those of a higher level, he was not at a disadvantage at all. Lin Chen was either waving his spear, slashing with his sword, shooting with his bow, or dancing with his blade. Orange grade. Orange grade. Orange grade. Lin Chen used no less than 5 orange grade techniques in one go. It's too scary. Every move of this kid is an orange grade technique. He's simply playing with his life. That's not the key. The key is that every move of his orange grade technique can be divided into 5 moves, and the power is not affected at all. This is the full power of the Black Horse Club's #1 genius, God descending to the mortal world, Lin Chen. More than 200 sages were moved. It was the first time they had seen such a heaven-defying sage. The reason why Lin Chen was able to fight 1 against 2 was because of his absolute life and death innate talent. Every second of his vitality increased his strength by 15 times that of a 4th tribulation cultivator. This allowed Lin Chen to fight even more valiantly. The increase in strength from life and death's burning of vitality had exceeded 30,000 times. Lin Chen's 21 saint points were showing signs of breaking open. Most importantly, it was instant light splitting shadows. This was Lin Chen's only permanent orange grade talent, and it finally shone with its peerless brilliance. It was not like the Sun God or God Slayer, which directly granted power after meeting the prerequisites. The strength of instant light-splitting shadows depended on the host's own strength. As Lin Chen grew stronger, this innate talent would eventually reveal its peerless divine might. However, it consumed a lot. Every time Lin Chen used instant light-splitting shadows, it would consume more than 300 intermediate talent points. The dozen sages who were trapped in the sure kill technique were shocked. This kid's strength had reached such a terrifying level. The situation has changed. We have to take action too. Don't let this kid escape. How many more moves does he have? When this kind of young man grows up in the future, none of us will be able to escape. Kill him, we have to kill him first. Many sages were either transmitting voice transmissions to each other or roaring in their hearts. Only Ying Tianma kept his eyes fixed on Lin Chen as he parried the sure kill moves. He had exchanged information with serious injuries. He knew that Lin Chen had an even more heaven-defying killer move. The change in the battle situation began from the moment Qi Hong vomited blood. After Qi Hong's soaring blade aura was torn apart, the shining arrow aura of the Feather of Lucky Light shattered his defense, and many attribute light balls rolled down. Emoshiue's face was pale, and her spirit was damaged. When the attack that locked onto me slows down, I will definitely crush this kid. Qi Hong gritted his teeth and painfully swallowed a sacred pill to heal his injured body. The two of them had to split their attention to resist the power of the sure kill technique. Their combat power was limited in the battle with Lin Chen. If their defense was broken, it would also cause damage to their sacred bodies. When sages were injured, the cost of healing was often great. Chapter 1055. Lin Chen grabbed the attribute light balls dropped by the two of them to make up for his previous consumption. The 2 trump cards, the high-energy slow rune and instant light split shadows, caught the two of them off guard. Coupled with the heavenly invisibility rune's spiritual shock, it perfectly triggered the assault talent. At the same time, the two of them were heavily injured. Once the tier talent was triggered, their attacks would definitely collapse. Activated 13 high-level blue rank ultimate skills. All targets have been locked. Beginning bombardment. Remaining high-level blue rank ultimate skills. 13. Just as the dozen or so saints were about to break free from the ultimate skills, lightning and fire descended, and the wind and clouds rose again. The saints cursed on the spot. Damn it, is there no end to this? How many more of these attacks does this kid have? I'm so unlucky. I've been in the sacred boundary for so many years, and this is the first time I've been so frustrated. The saints stood in the space behind Lin Chen, and couldn't help but curse. Qi Hong and Mo Shiyue, who were in front of Lin Chen, had solemn expressions. I originally planned to wait for these strange attacks to disappear before taking him down in one fell swoop. I didn't expect him to have another round of bombardment. We don't know how many more of these attacks he has. Forget it. Let's endure the attacks and attack with all our might. The two of them looked at each other and thought of the same thing. Boom. Above Qi Hong's head, 100 dragons suddenly danced wildly. Blood Qi surged, rolling up tens of thousands of waves of blood. His saint's sword glowed with the light of a faint blood moon. Mo Shiyue wiped the blood essence from her palm on the sword. 3,000 blazing suns shone in the void, as if a world of flames had suddenly descended. The expressions of more than 200 saints changed slightly. Saint One Brow and Seiji Fuzumi circulated their Saint Qi with all their might and set up 3 layers of holy light protective shields. Lin Chen actually forced out senior apprentice brother Mo's 3,000 Burning Heavens technique. It's said that it's the most powerful orange-level sword technique of the primordial age. Lin Chen is dead for sure. I didn't expect that we would have the chance to see Elder Hong's Blood Moon frightening dragon with our own eyes. This is an orange tear saber sutra that the Hongtian Hall had sacrificed a few grand elders and risked their lives to obtain from an ancient ruin. On Kirin Cloud Island, the red-robed youth of Hongtian Hall and the remaining geniuses of Sun Moon Hall were all shocked beyond words. Orange tear cultivation method. With a third-level Sage Realm Saber Saint and Mo Shiyue, who possessed a Yang Odd Crystal, its power would probably sweep away most sages of the same level. More than 200 Saint Realm experts were shocked. Among the third-level saints, only a small portion of them possessed a complete orange-grade ultimate skill. The only reason they could do so was because they were from a 5th-grade sect. From a certain point of view, Lin Chen was able to fight 2/3 Heaven True Saints at the same time. He had even forced them to use their trump cards. He had already won. Only geniuses on the monster ranking could achieve such a result. Regardless of whether he could withstand this move from the 2 sages or not, his name would be immortalized in history. Have they been forced into a corner? But it just so happens that I don't have much talent points and rune energy left. It just so happens that the time limit of the absolute life and death talent is almost up. My orange-grade cultivation method has just been integrated. Lin Chen's eyes shone with incomparable calmness and sharpness. This was probably the calmest he had ever been since he used the absolute life and death talent. After burning the absolute life and death for so long, his 21st virtual sacred point was faintly showing signs of breaking through. Brat, I'll let you see what an orange-grade ultimate skill is. It's not something that your incomplete orange-grade technique can compare to. Mo Shiyue's head was bombarded by countless sure-kill technique. His robes fluttered in the wind, and he laughed sinisterly. Lin Chen raised his hand and 9-colored starlight gathered in his palm. Qi Hong sneered. I originally wanted to keep you alive. Forget it. If you die here, you won't be able to trick us. Boom. The next moment, the 2 saints moved at the same time. Mo Shiyue raised his sword and struck out. It was as if his sword could shatter heaven and earth. Wherever the sword tip pointed, thousands of blazing suns rose. At the center of the blazing suns, a long rainbow of sword aura was spinning rapidly. At that moment, an abyss-like crack appeared in the sky. Blood Moon Frightening Dragon. The rolling saber aura was unstoppable. The vast blood-colored moonlight condensed on the saber, and it slashed out swiftly. A dragon-shaped saber aura flowed in a 1,000-foot-long blood moon, and the saber aura traveled thousands and thousands of miles. Bang! 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 The surface of the sea exploded, rolling up a water tornado. The sea surface under the blazing sun sword mark was divided into a 10,000-foot-long abyss. The sea surface was actually cut in half by the sword aura. Retreat? Stay away. The more than 200 Saint Realm experts who were watching the battle subconsciously retreated. Seiji Fuzumi and Saint Onebrow used all their strength to protect Kirin Island. The only one who didn't move was the woman in red from the Divine Flame Palace. Her beautiful eyes stared at Lin Chen, trying to see through the 9-colored star in his palm. Under everyone's gaze, Lin Chen raised his palm and pushed it, smiling slightly. Go. Whoosh! The 9 Tribulations star turned into a 9-colored aurora and shot toward the attacks of the two, like ants crashing into a lion and a tiger. Only a few people's pupils trembled, and they discovered that where the 9-colored aurora passed, there were actually faint spatial cracks left behind. The void trembled, and the 9-colored star actually split into 5. Chi. Rumble. The 5 9-colored starlights collided head-on with the blood moon frightening dragon and the blazing sun sword aura, and the entire sea region shook. The 9-colored light pillar that reached the heavens and the earth rose. In its extremely gorgeous beauty, there was a wave that could destroy the heavens and the earth. The 9-colored light pillar trembled violently and slowly disappeared in the endless storm of sword aura and saber aura. And Qi Hong and Mo Shiyue suffered different injuries in the energy surge of the 9-colored light pillar. Qi Hong retreated in time, and only consumed a lot of Saint Qi. Mo Shiyue's defense was penetrated by a little 9-colored Saint Qi, and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. He took it. Lin Chen took the strongest attack of the two. It's too scary. Challenging someone of a higher level, this is a real challenge of someone of a higher level. Although a part of their strength was affected by those strange energy attacks, they can still exert at least 80% of their strength. He still took their orange-level unique techniques. Although he's not on the demon list, he's better than the demon list. Everyone exclaimed. The terrifying energy aftermath shattered one of the 3 layers of energy shields on Kirin Island. Bang! Another wave rose before the first wave subsided. Lin Chen's position suddenly exploded with earth-shaking Saint Qi fluctuations, and a 9-colored holy light rose. Lin Chen, whose silver robe billowed like fire and whose entire body was burning with orange-red flames, slowly walked out of the 9-colored holy light with his saber. This aura is actually not inferior to that of Mo Shiyue. What's going on? This Lin Chen can actually go to a higher level? Oh my god! To what extent does he want to go against the heavens? Isn't his real cultivation at the War Emperor level? All the saints were shocked. At this moment, the woman in red's expression changed slightly. There was astonishment and curiosity, and it was especially exciting. Chapter 1056. As Lin Chen walked out of the 9-colored holy light, 21 hexagonal stars flickered all over his body. 21 saint points, early 3rd heaven saint realm. Lin Chen had actually reached the 3rd heaven saint realm? All of this wasn't a fluke. It had been planned long ago. However, what was even more serious was Lin Chen's condition. His life force was constantly flowing away, like the last ray of light before the fall of the pole star. The absolute life and death talent burned his life force, increasing Lin Chen's strength by more than 100,000 times. His cultivation was second only to himself when he entered the sun god state during the battle of the fake gods. Retreat quickly! Mo Shiyue and Qi Hong were old and shrewd. They knew that things were not going well. Lin Chen looked like he was going to risk his life. Just as he was about to use his movement technique to travel through the void, Qi. Boom! 2 grayish-white talismans appeared, freezing the space to an incomparably solid and sluggish state, restricting the movements of the two. This was Lin Chen's strongest slow rune so far. It consumed 1,400 points of rune energy. Not good. Their hearts skipped a beat. The moment the slow rune exploded, many attacks rolled up above the heads of all the saints. Lightning flashed, violent winds surged, and a sandstorm raged. Host has activated 13 high-level blue rank killing move. Remaining killing moves, 0. Lin Chen had used the last batch of killing moves. Under the attack of 2 waves of killing moves, all the saints' movements were completely restricted. Everything was so natural and smooth. It was as if everything had been planned in advance. Clang! A bright blue saber light reverberated like a dragon's roar. The young man stood with his saber. With a single saber in his hand, Lin Chen's domineering aura surged. His eyes were incomparably firm and sharp. He revealed his ambition to kill a saint. From the beginning to the end, he hadn't wavered. A surge of saber aura surged from Lin Chen's body. Everyone was intimidated by his imposing manner. Sovereign's Descent talent activated. Accumulated energy, 500 million points. It will increase the host's next attack. I've been waiting for this moment. So what if you're a sage? So what if you're a sword saint? So what if you're a Sun Moon Hall? Die. Lin Chen let out a thunderous roar, swiftly brandishing his saber and chopping down. Boom. The bright blue moon throbbed and trembled slightly. The blade split open a blazing white light that spanned across the sky. The snow-white saber light spun 360 degrees at an extremely fast speed. Wherever it passed, the sky was shredded. The world was illuminated by this dazzling brilliance, and it was reflected in everyone's heart. A sorrowful aura appeared in everyone's heart. TSK. The saber light trembled and split into 5. This slash was Lin Chen's strongest attack after entering the sacred boundary. Godslayer plus Absolute Life and Death plus Sovereign's Descent plus Flicker Shadow. Double purple and double orange talents. 5 rapidly spinning snow-white saber lights stirred up the sea and slashed towards 16 different stage cultivators. Oh no! The power of this slash is far greater than any battle technique he's used before. It's at least twice as powerful as my Blood Moon startling dragon. What kind of saber technique is this? While the sages were terrified, they frantically activated their defensive trump cards. What no one expected was that. Bang! A loud explosion rang out. The 5 rapidly spinning snow-white saber lights suddenly exploded into shards of light that filled the sky. The saber light enveloped the area within a radius of several hundred miles. The 16 sages' eyes trembled with fear. They were trapped by the sure kill attack, and had no chance of avoiding this terrifying attack. The moment the terrifying saber aura exploded into shards, its power increased exponentially. The shards of saber aura drifted in the air like a rain of flowers, crushing the wind and clouds. Bang! 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 The shards of saber aura rained down on the sages' holy light defenses like a violent storm. Everyone was dumbfounded. Every shard of saber aura could penetrate the body of an 8th stage beast. These thousands of saber aura shards bombarded the 16 sages, piercing through their colorful holy light defenses. The sages were badly mutilated as they fell into the void. No matter how many techniques they used, they could not block the endless saber aura shards that pierced through their bodies like a violent storm. The 4 sages of the Dark Pavilion, Pavilion Master Ing Mia, Patriarch Ing Tianma, and the other sages, perished under the destruction of the saber aura shards. Before they died, their eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. Even the 2 sages of the 1,000 Gold Chamber of Commerce, the 8 Gates Mystic Escape, the 7-star armor, and a series of defensive sage artifacts, were only able to block the first wave of attacks before they were penetrated by the saber aura shards. Their flesh exploded, and their holy light shattered. The 5 sages from the mystic realm, Mist Sage, Cicada Sage, and the others, were even worse. Most of them only had 8 to 10 sage points. Under the sure kill attack, they were annihilated into nothingness by the saber aura shards. The Qin family's sword sage, Qin Jintian, used his sure kill sword technique to block for a moment before he was crushed into a bloody mist by the sure kill attack and the saber aura shards. The target of the life and death talent has died. The talent state has been removed. The Songhai saint had an unconcealable sense of fear and joy. Fortunately, his opponent was Ao Qing of the innumerable Green Palace. If he was hit by this saber, even if he didn't die, he would be crippled. Ao Qing's old face twitched as he said with a trembling voice, as expected of the person that the previous palace master told us to befriend. With this saber, this child is qualified to enter the demon genius ranking. A moment later, the sea surged violently. Kirin Cloud Island welcomed a strange silence. For the geniuses on the genius ranking, this was destined to be an unforgettable scene. The terrifying waves caused Kirin Cloud Island to be on the verge of collapse. Fortunately, Feng Quan and Saint Onebrow did their best to suppress the waves, so Kirin Cloud Island didn't flip over. In the void, the silver-robed youth stood tall. When a ray of dawn illuminated Kirin Cloud Island, it sprinkled on the youth's childish face. His entire body flowed with red clouds as he stood with his saber in hand. He was majestic, and his calm appearance revealed a domineering aura that looked down on the world. He was like a god that had descended to the mortal world. All the sages stopped fighting. The sages of man you swallowed their saliva with difficulty. That bear saint trembled and said, What saber technique is this? Everyone was shocked by this saber. It was like a saber of a god that could cut through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. And my eyes, the geniuses realized that 2 streams of tears were flowing down their cheeks. It wasn't just the geniuses. Everyone who saw this saber either shed tears or felt heartbroken. Even the sages had tears in their eyes. What saber technique is this? Some sages mumbled as if they were in a dream. In the void, Lin Chen smiled and said, In the ancient times, there were gods whose tears left no trace. This saber technique is called God's Tears. Orange grade saber technique, God's Tears. The woman in red fell into deep thought. Doubled? No, it's close to doubling. Without a doubt, this is an orange grade saber technique. The moment it was released, not only did it split into 5, the power of the 5 saber lights also increased by nearly 2 times. The woman in red from the Divine Flame Palace clicked her tongue in wonder. Powerful. I originally thought that the 9-colored star was this little guy's trump card. I didn't expect him to still have this hidden move. This level of saber technique, even in my Divine Flame Palace, would be considered one of the best. The ancestors of the Chun family stared blankly ahead. Their hearts turned cold and their hairs stood on end. At this moment, there were no longer any sages in front of Lin Chen. The 4 sages of the Dark Pavilion, all dead. The 5 sages of the Mystic Realm, all dead. The 3 sages of the 1,000 Gold Association, Sword Saint Qin Jintian, all dead. The 2 sages of Xuanyu, 1 dead and 1 injured. Qi Hong of the Hongtian Hall, Mo Shiue of the Sun Moon Hall, all seriously injured and fled. They didn't even care about their own geniuses. Shock. Shock that made their teeth chatter uncontrollably. 1 saber to kill 10 sages. No, to be precise, 1 saber to kill 14 sages. 1 battle to shock the heavens. The ancestor of the Qin family muttered, This is the descending god of the Black Horse Club, Lin Chen. Chapter 1057. Lin Chen heaved a sigh of relief, feeling extremely carefree. It was as if his soul had undergone some kind of sublimation and transformation. In the depths of Lin Chen's eyes, there seemed to be some charm. Advancing to the Saint Realm required the accumulation of a person's lifetime potential and foundation. This kind of accumulation came from the tempering of a person's soul. Lin Chen didn't know that in the near future, his experience of slaughtering saints would bring him great benefit. This kind of benefit couldn't be erased. It would all explode at the most intense and dazzling moment of one's life. The geniuses of the Sun Moon Hall were dumbfounded. Ran away? Their almost invincible senior brother Mo Shiue had actually been beaten away? He had directly left them behind. What did this mean? This meant that Lin Chen had the ability to kill him. If he hadn't run, he would have died without a doubt. Other than Qi Hong, Mo Shiue, and an old antique from Xuanyu, the rest of the saints had fallen. 14 saints had fallen. In the 36 regions, this could only happen in some large-scale holy wars. Becoming a saint wasn't inferior to ascending to the heavens. There were 100,000 geniuses on the Sacred Boundaries genius ranking, and it was unknown how many of them had stopped at the gates of the saint realm. Today, the geniuses present had witnessed a youth on the genius ranking kill 14 saints in a row. He had severely injured 2/3 heaven saints. This wasn't a coincidence. Lin Chen had premeditated this. The accumulation of the sovereign's descent talent's energy had begun when Lin Chen had encountered more than 70 geniuses from the barbarian realm. He had fought fiercely on Rainbow Island and hadn't used the accumulated energy of the sovereign's descent. It was all for this final moment. He had gambled on this strongest killing move. Originally, Lin Chen had planned to use the 9 Tribulations star as the final blow. However, after entering the God Slayer state, he had unexpectedly discovered that he had reached the cultivation foundation of God's tears. He had saved his trump card for God's tears. He had deliberately delayed the battle for 2 reasons. First, he wanted to burn the absolute life and death talent to the extreme. Second, he wanted to buy time for his doppelganger to integrate the cultivation memories of God's tears. Orange tier combat skill, so powerful! Lin Chen's eyes flashed with excitement. Originally, when I used a half-orange grade technique to boost my power to the orange grade, I could only fight a 3rd-level saint. However, after using instant light clone, I can fight 2 saints head-on. However, I can't completely break through their defenses. I can only rely on my innate ability to deal damage to them. However, the sovereign's descent only amplifies the strength by 1.8 times. It's not even 2 times, but it can still break through the defenses of a 3rd heaven true saint. The foundation of an orange rank combat skill is too powerful. Even if the charging rune couldn't be used on orange rank combat skills, Lin Chen could use them enhance to increase the power of orange rank combat skills by 2 or 3 times. At that time, how powerful would he be? Lin Chen released the Dragon Emperor and frantically collected the attribute light orbs dropped by the fallen saint. Obtained 158 rune energy, 129 heavens path points, 195 cultivation soul essences, 20,000 strengthening points, 50,000 strengthening points, 40,000 strengthening points, 145 talent points. Even if the Godslayer innate ability reduced the drop of attributes, there were still hundreds of attribute light orbs. After all, this was achieved at the cost of 13 saint stage cultivators. If they had fought head-on, the 16 saints wouldn't have ended so badly. However, they had been delayed by Lin Chen's killing move. In addition, the strongest Mo Shiue and Qi Hong had just released their strongest killing moves and were exhausted from defending. Lin Chen was close to a breakthrough in his cultivation and used the slowing rune to seal the 2 strongest saints. It was a pity that there were no ifs in this world. Lin Chen's plan could be considered to have been executed perfectly. He had truly accomplished this shocking feat of slaughtering a group of saints by himself. How about it, everyone? Do you still want to fight? The members of the Black Horse Club have always been indifferent to life and death when fighting. If there are any saints who want to fight, I will accompany you to the end. Lin Chen laughed loudly. Even though he was bathed in blood, his fighting spirit was still boiling. Even though the life and death ultimatum had been dispelled and his saint points decreased back to 20, his fighting spirit did not decrease at all. This time, no one dared to accept the challenge. Those who were clamoring for Lin Chen to pay with his blood were all terrified. The 4 saints of the Man region and the 4 saints of the Chen clan, no one dared to make a sound. Yay! Master is so awesome, I knew that Master would make it through. Shen Lingshuang excitedly waved her little fist. The lady in red let out a rare smile. Not bad indeed. It exceeded my expectations. Country Lord Fu Xing shook his head and exclaimed, my future son-in-law, Jundok Shuai, has really joined a powerful sect. I wonder if I can still pull him back to be my son-in-law. Sun Yuer, Yu Qingli, and Yu Yulan were in a daze. Whether it was an illusion or a coincidence, they actually saw the shadow of Jundok Shuai in Lin Chen. The Songhai saint looked at Lin Chen and said, "He, the student has surpassed the master. Young friend's strength has opened my eyes. This old man will not accompany you any further. The 100 Saints' Gate will remember this debt." Whoosh! After he finished speaking, the Songhai saint stretched out his hand and grabbed the few remaining geniuses of the 100 Saints' Gate. In an instant they disappeared into the void and left Qilin Island. The most troublesome third heaven true saint has also escaped. Let's take this opportunity to work with the other true saints and cripple the Chun clan and Man Yu first. The God Slayer state does not have much time left. Let's take this opportunity to injure as many as we can. Lin Chen looked at the saints of the Man Yu and Chun clan again, and a murderous light flashed in his eyes. The 8 saints' hearts skipped a beat. F***ck, this brat still wants to fight. Rumble. A loud explosion rang through the air, and the scene changed. A holy song resounded through the air, and 1,000 rays of white light shone brightly like the moon above the sea, illuminating the entire Qilin Island. The sea breeze blew past the woman's long hair. She was dressed in a white dress, and her body was like the moon. She walked out of the 1,000 rays of light, and her aura was otherworldly. I want to see who has the guts to kill the disciples of my son Moon Hall today. The moment the woman appeared, the eyes of Saint King Fu, Poison Saint King Yu, and the other true saints trembled in fear. This aura was more than 10 times stronger than a 3rd heaven true saint. 4th heaven true saint. She still came. A 4th heaven true saint was more threatening than all the other true saints present. Shit, Lin Chen is about to. The king was about to say something. Rumble. A violent, dark green tornado blew from the north to the south, sweeping up tens of thousands of stormy waves on the surface of the sea, surging and slapping the waves. A crack appeared in the dark green tornado, and an old man in plain clothes poked his head out. He coughed lightly a few times. Cough, cough, cough. His voice was clearly transmitted to everyone's ears, and all the geniuses present felt as though they had been knocked on the head. "Little fellow, you're Lin Chen from the Black Horse Club? Come with me. The geniuses of my Hongtian Hall are not people you can kill as you wish." The old man in plain clothes coughed a few times, and pink clouds appeared from the west. A pink cloud slowly rose up, and a graceful woman could be seen faintly within the cloud. She seemed to be meticulous, and her jade-like skin was faintly discernible under the pink cloud. Her graceful figure could make one's lust become restless. Many of the male geniuses below Qilin Island felt their mouths go dry. The woman in the clouds was hidden in the hazy pink clouds, and she looked especially alluring. The charming woman in the clouds chuckled at Lin Chen. "Oh, little brother, you're still a virgin. Come over and let sister hug you." Lin Chen's eyes narrowed. If it wasn't for his extraordinary spiritual power, he would have already fallen for this woman's charm. Extremely powerful. All of them are 4th heaven true saints. They're many times stronger than Mo Shiyue and Qi Hong. In Lin Chen's heart, there was a desperate hysteria. So what if they were 4th heaven true saints? The word surrender didn't exist in his dictionary. Chapter 1058. The atmosphere in the air was extremely stifling. 3/4 Heaven True Saints had appeared, and they were from the Hongtian Hall, the Sun Moon Hall, and the 100 Saints' Gate. Every single one of them was enough to suppress Lin Chen. Ao Qing from the innumerable Green Palace appeared beside Lin Chen with a bitter expression on her face. This is bad. Poison Saint Yu and the Heavenly Ghost Divination Palace's true saints cursed in their hearts. The 4th Heaven True Saint realm is the expanded cavern realm. Every time a saint cavern is opened, the space in the saint cavern will expand, and the amount of saint chi it can hold will increase exponentially. Even if we attack together, we won't be able to stop them. The 4th Heaven True Saint realm was the dividing line in the True Saint realm. A direct descendant of a 3rd Heaven True Saint could be ranked in the top 40,000 on the Genius ranking. However, a 4th Heaven True Saint with a 4th Heaven True Saint bloodline could produce a super genius ranked in the top 20,000 on the Genius ranking. This little fellow is in trouble. I didn't expect these sects to send out a 4th Heaven True Saint. The lady in red smiled. Shun Lingshuang, who was beside her, wanted to say something but stopped. She smiled at Shun Lingshuang and said, "Don't worry. Your master's performance has already exceeded my expectations. If necessary, I will save him. After all, with his strength, it's impossible for him to fight against a 4th Heaven True Saint. Even those on the monstrous geniuses ranking can't do that." "Elder Qin Yu, you're finally here. It's him. He's the one who injured senior brother Mo Shue and killed Nan Gong." The lady in the Sun Moon Hall sobbed as she transmitted her voice to Qin Yu. When the lady in the moon dress heard the transmission, her face turned frosty. Moonlight swirled around her fingertips, and her expression turned frosty. Lin Chen didn't panic in the face of danger, and he laughed mockingly. "Everyone, you want to capture me, but I'm alone. How do you want to split the spoils?" The charming woman hiding in the pink cloud giggled and said, "Little guy, don't play such a low-level trick of sowing discord. It's useless. If you cripple your own arms now, you still have a chance to live. Otherwise, Big Sister will be very ruthless." Lin Chen raised his eyebrows and chuckled. "How ruthless? I like ruthless people. I'm afraid that the more ruthless you are, the more I like you." After saying that, Lin Chen tightened his grip on the Aries wristband. "Looks like this little guy doesn't know the rules. Let's just cripple him." In the pitch-black void, a crack was torn open. An old, yellowed hand reached out and grabbed at Lin Chen. It was so bizarre that even Ao Qing barely managed to react. She did not have the time to protect Lin Chen. Life and death, absolute strength. Lin Chen mustered up all his strength. The charged penetration rune boosted his 7 ultimate strength to the orange tier. Lin Chen's fist blasted out. Bang! Fist and palm collided. The sound of bones breaking came from Lin Chen's left arm. Lin Chen's pure power, which was like millions upon millions of dragons, seemed to have struck a boundless sea of stars, and all of its strength was negated. "Oh, you're a little monster. You have some skills." The plain-clothed old man was slightly surprised. He was about to attack again when Lin Chen moved at full speed with little dark shadow. He barely dodged and retreated to the side. "Damn, this old man is so powerful. He can suppress my full power with just a casual attack. If he fights seriously, I'm afraid I won't even be able to last 3 rounds." Lin Chen was shocked. The strength of a 4th Heaven Saint was several levels higher than Mo Shiue's. Even if he could use God's Tear again, and its power could reach the level of the attack that killed 14 saints, it would be difficult to cause any real damage to this old man. The lady in red shook her head and laughed. As expected, a 4th Heaven Saint is too early for him to face. Just as the lady in red was about to attack, she realized that Lin Chen had not given up yet. "So what if you're a 4th Heaven Saint? You guys forced me today. If you want to take my life, I'll kill as many as you can." Lin Chen laughed wildly and put on the Aries wristband on his right hand. buzz, rumble. Millions of golden rays of light surged out from Lin Chen's body. A Aries wristband aura that could rival the myriad worlds erupted from Lin Chen's body. It was as if the Aries wristband had descended to the mortal world, unparalleled in the world. Lin Chen's eyes turned golden as he exuded a domineering battle intent and tyrannical aura. His pure strength soared in a straight line. The lady in red narrowed her eyes, as if she wanted to see through Lin Chen. Her lips curled into an excited smile. What's that? The faces of all the Saint Realm experts present changed abruptly. He still has a trump card? Oh my god, how many trump cards does this Lin Chen have? 3 billion dragon power points, 6 billion dragon power points, 10 billion dragon power points. It was still rising. Lin Chen's strength broke through the sky in half a breath's time. Divine light shone and golden light shot out. Lin Chen's body was covered in boundless golden light, and golden light flowed around his body like a coiling dragon. The boundless energy surging out from the Aries wristband caused the heavens and earth to tremble, and the sea to tremble. What is that thing? Saint artifact? That's not right. When he took out the wristband, there wasn't any strange phenomenon. It can't be a saint artifact. This time, Lin Chen was no longer as wretched as before. He could barely control the strength of the Aries wristband. In the state of the God Slayer, he was much stronger than when he was in the War Emperor realm. What kind of realm has my pure strength reached? In the end, even Lin Chen couldn't tell what realm his strength had reached. There's something strange about this brat. Attack. Kill him. The 3/4 Heaven True Saints felt a sense of danger coming from Lin Chen's body, and they immediately launched their attacks. The lady in the moon-colored dress waved her hand, and the moonlight turned into a huge net that enveloped Lin Chen. Pink clouds filled the air, and 3 pink arrows shot out. The old man in the linen robe pointed at the void, and a wind dragon charged towards Lin Chen. The attacks of the 3/4 Heaven True Saints didn't seem as powerful as the previous True Saint. However, if one looked closely, it was as though the spiritual energy around them had been reduced to nothingness. So what if you're in the 4th heaven of the True Saints? Break for me. Lin Chen didn't care about anything else this time. He raised his fist and punched towards the sky. His fist was like an abyss, and golden light flashed as he punched out with pure strength. Pooh! Pung! The wind dragon exploded, and the moonlight net was reduced to nothingness. The pink arrows were reduced to ashes, and the attacks of the 3/4 Heaven True Saints were destroyed by a single punch. The golden light exploded, and the terrifying aftershock turned the sky upside down. The expressions of the 200 True Saints changed, and they retreated in shock. Lin Chen's punch caused the wind and clouds to change, and the sky and earth to turn upside down. The entire sea was split into 2 sides, and huge waves thousands of feet high rose from both sides. It was as though the sky and earth had been turned upside down. Rumble! The terrifying energy shockwave completely shattered Qilin Island's energy barrier. Seiji Fuzumi and Saint One Eyebrow vomited blood at the same time. Oh no, we won't be able to protect these little fellows. The 2 saints' expressions changed slightly, and a beautiful red figure flashed onto Kirin Cloud Island. Her long, slender, snow-white legs shook lightly. Rumble! The beauty held Shen Lingshuang's hand, and with a sudden stomp of her foot, Kirin Cloud Island, which had almost been overturned, instantly stabilized in the stormy sea. Many genius rankings experts stared at the lady in red with incomparable shock. Between heaven and earth, she could stabilize the overturned space with just a stomp of her foot. What terrifying strength! Thank you for your help. The 2 saints cupped their fists in shock and gratitude. The lady in red ignored the 2 of them, and her beautiful eyes were fixed on the sky. Interesting. Ha 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 ha, Lin Chen. I'm looking forward to your future more and more. Chapter 1059. Lin Chen's performance far exceeded the red-dressed girl's expectations. Lin Chen's punch seemed to have used up half of his strength. He was panting heavily, but the excitement in his eyes could not be concealed when he saw the three sages being pushed back dozens of miles. In the past, he had used this god of war bracer to push back the severely injured Lin Xingqian with just 2 finger flicks, not to mention the punch that was thrown out. Even when 3 fourth-layer saints joined forces, they were still pushed back a great distance by him. The god of war bracer is indeed terrifying. It seems like this is only a part of the set system. If I collect the entire God of War set, won't I be able to kill sages and kill gods? This was just a thought. Lin Chen knew that the God of War bracer required a strong physique to withstand part of its power. Without a strong physique, everything was useless. The auras of the 3 sages are still stable and powerful. My punch only pushed them back and did not hurt them. They still have energy left, but I can't fight for a long time with the God of War bracer. Although I can use my strength to shake them, I will be the one at a disadvantage if I fight them head-on. It's time to run. The arrival of a 4th stage sage is indeed beyond my expectations. Lin Chen flicked his finger. His power shattered the void and shot out a beam of golden light that was filled with pure power. Then, Lin Chen retreated rapidly. Little dark shadow wrapped around his body, and he escaped through the void. The woman in the moon-colored dress waved her hand, and her sage chi condensed into a beam of moonlight. Bang! Lin Chen's finger flicks were shattered. He's trying to escape. The woman in pink narrowed her eyes and chased after him on her pink cloud. The old man in plain clothes was uncertain. How dare you compete in speed in front of me? Kid, you are not qualified. He transformed into a dark green storm, and the 3 of them immediately chased after Lin Chen. The woman in red looked in the direction the 3 of them left, but she did not chase after them. Instead, she slowly closed her eyes and frowned. Heavenly Ghost Fortune-Teller and the other sages were powerless. The 4 of them were extremely fast, and they could not catch up at all. Shun Lingshuang was beside the woman in red, and her heart was burning with anxiety. Faster, faster! Lin Chen urged in his heart as he continuously flapped his sacred phoenix wings. Little shadow shuttled him through space, leaping great distances time and time again. But soon, seeing the 3 flickering figures behind him approaching, Lin Chen raised his hand and flicked his finger again. Pure power condensed and shot out a stream of golden light, exploding between the 3 saints. Lin Chen wasn't running away randomly. Instead, he was running in one direction. At this moment, the system's screen popped up. Lin Chen's movement technique had increased by a large margin. Automatic upgrade of Dragon Flash plus 15 succeeded, power increase. 90%, a total of 38 failures, a total of 970,000 enhancement points consumed. This brat's speed actually increased dramatically. It's his movement technique. What incredible speed! This kind of movement technique is the strongest among half-orange tier movement technique. Coupled with his sacred phoenix wings and the help of the innate shadow attribute, only an orange tier movement technique can achieve such speed at his cultivation level. The linen-clothed old man narrowed his eyes. In the next moment, he was horrified. Oh no! He's running in the direction of the Purple Cloud King Valley. The expressions of the 2 ladies beside him changed slightly. The Purple Cloud King Valley was a legendary aristocratic family. Its foundation was far beyond that of a 5th-rank sect. Looks like I'll have to bring out some trump cards. The linen-clothed old man, who was the fastest, was riding the dark green hurricane. In a flash, he stepped onto a millstone-like acupoint. His Saint Chi was rapidly depleted, and his speed suddenly increased. In a flash, he was actually closing in on Lin Chen at a speed visible to the naked eye. Consumed 4,000 points of high-grade rune energy to activate the level 6 rune of slowing. A grayish-white talisman fell from the sky and exploded behind Lin Chen. The linen-clothed old man's speed slowed down slightly. The difference between the strength of a fourth Heaven True Saint and a third Heaven True Saint was huge. Lin Chen had consumed 1/3 of the rune energy he had just obtained. The moment he activated the super powerful rune of slowing, he turned around and flicked his finger again. Rip! Bang! The golden light hit the linen-clothed old man, who was caught off guard. Although he was sent flying, the holy light circulating around his body absorbed most of the damage and impact. Damn it, why does this brat have so many strange moves? The linen-clothed old man flew into a rage out of humiliation. The lady in the moon-colored dress and the lady in the pink cloud immediately chased after him. The four of them formed a line of pursuit. Wherever they passed, there would be explosions, and the air would surge and howl. All the saints who sensed the presence of the four of them did not dare to casually spy on them. They were intimidated by the terrifying aura of a fourth Heaven True Saint and hid themselves. On a continental plate in the southern region, purple chi came from the east, and the clouds were steaming. 10 mountain ranges intertwined like crouching dragons, majestic and imposing. Pavilions and palaces stood in great numbers. A powerful spatial barrier protected the surroundings. In the center was a valley with rising purple clouds. The valley extended to countless levels underground, and a city was cast in the sky. It was very majestic, like the ruins of an ancient civilization. In the center of the valley, inside an ancient tower, 2 old men suddenly opened their eyes. The spatial barrier 30,000 miles from the north to the south has been broken? Who dares to barge into our King Valley? There seems to be more than one person. Let's go take a look. The 2 old men's figures flashed, and they disappeared. In the southern sky, the 2 old men's figures appeared. Boom! A sonic boom rang out. The 2 old men focused their eyes and looked. It was a young man being chased by 3/4 Heaven True Saints? Who are you, Just as the 2 old men were about to stop the young man who was covered in blood, he took out a light purple token and pointed it at the 2 old men. The word King was clearly carved on the token. This is the little demon Empress token. Seeing this token is like seeing the Valley Master. Only the little demon Empress has this token. She actually gave it to this young man? Where did he come from? No matter where he came from, we have to save him first. The 2 old men's eyes shone brightly. This token was not a small matter, and the battle chi seal on it had already been broken. It was obvious that its owner had given it to this young man voluntarily, and this young man had not taken it by force or picked it up by chance. If she had given it to him voluntarily, it was obvious that the little demon Empress had an ambiguous relationship with him. What if he was the future son-in-law of the King Valley? They could not afford to be careless. Boom! The 2 old men were like a flash of light, blocking the 3 people in front of them. They sent out a palm print with purple clouds, sweeping across the land, stopping the 3 people in midair. The woman in the moon dress shattered the palm print with her bare hands, and said with a frosty expression, "You too, what is the meaning of this?" The plain-clothed old man immediately cupped his hands. "You too, this old man is Hongtian Hall's Fengzhantian, and these 2 are the Grand Elders of the 100 Saints Gate and Sun Moon Hall. We are pursuing this young man together, and I hope that you will give us some face. No need to give us any face, our Purple Cloud King Valley will protect this young man. Touching him is making an enemy out of our King Valley." The 2 old men's words were shocking. They actually protected Lin Chen in one move. Lin Chen was dumbfounded. Wasn't this a little too strong? They didn't even ask about my background and directly protected me? My little demoness is amazing. The token she gave me is so important in Purple Cloud King Valley. Lin Chen also did not expect that the little demoness token would be so useful. Chapter 1060. Lin Chen knew the location of Zixia King Valley. He wanted to use the token to distract the 3 of them and then try to escape. He did not expect them to protect him. Lin Chen took off the war god's wristband and a sense of exhaustion washed over him. The injured little shadow immediately went back to the Taoyuan plant pouch and swallowed a large number of elixirs and Longqingguo. The Aries bracer dimmed and was not as powerful as before. This time, Lin Chen used it but did not let it absorb enough attribute light balls. It seemed to lack energy. Lin Chen did not say anything and used the stealing omen on the 5 sages. Consumed 1,269 talent points. Stolen attribute points. 700 advanced water energy, 820 advanced wind energy, 2,990 advanced rune energy, 2,800,000 strengthening points, 900 advanced gold energy. With a boom, Lin Chen's 9-colored fate wheel absorbed more elemental energy. Gasp! Lin Chen sucked in a breath of cold air. They were indeed masters of Stage 4 sages. The stolen attributes were so high that it made one's hair stand on end. The 3 of them looked gloomy. Pink Beauty giggled as a chill flashed between her brows. The people from Purple Cloud King Valley are so domineering. Let me have a taste of your skills. Swoosh! She waved her sleeves and a gust of wind blew. Her slender fingers shot out a ray of cold light that tore through the air and attacked the 2 of them. The other 2 used a silver moon and their battle aura transformed into a black wind dragon. They faced the 2 elders head-on. You 3 have just reached the acupoint expansion stage. How dare you be so presumptuous in my King Valley? The 2 elders' holy chi shot up into the sky. They turned into 2 rays of light and fought with the 3 of them. Lin Chen was speechless. The 2 elders were more powerful than the 3 of them. Even he could only see a few shadows. The battle between the 5 of them did not cause any destruction. The holy chi around the 2 elders of the King Valley was like teleportation. Many of the aftershocks of the battle were eliminated. As a result, the Purple Cloud King Valley's territory didn't suffer from any impactful disasters. But Lin Chen could clearly see that the space where the 5 saints battled was shattering with abyss-like cracks every time. It was especially terrifying. In less than a quarter of an hour, the 2 sides separated. The 3 of them were in a mess. Although they were not injured, they had used up a lot of their saint chi. It was a very serious matter for a saint to consume too much holy chi, and there were limited ways to replenish it. Needless to say, there was no need to mention the price of being injured. In the absence of a divine pill, one could only rely on self-healing. Therefore, ordinary saints would not fight seriously. The masters of the King's Valley live up to their reputation, the woman in the moon dress said with a slightly pale face. Hee, brat, today you have the protection of an expert from the Purple Cloud King Valley, but that might not be the case in the future, the charming woman laughed coldly. She was shrouded in a pink cloud as she drifted away. Forget it. Apprehending this brat is just a convenient task for this old man. This is still the home ground of the Violet Cloud King Valley, so there is no need for us to fight to the death. The plain-clothed old man sighed in his heart and also left. The woman in the moon dress, who was the most indignant, glared at Lin Chen fiercely before leaving in a flash. Little brat, we have blocked the strong enemy for you. You should tell us about your relationship with the daughter of our valley. The 2 old men smiled as they walked toward Lin Chen. Just as he was about to salute the 2 old men, the God Slayer talent state was deactivated, and the time limit was up. The moment the God Slayer talent state was deactivated, Lin Chen was bleeding from all 7 orifices. The moment before he fainted, Lin Chen hurriedly swallowed a glazed Bodhi seed and urged the Dragon Emperor to help refine it. Then, he fainted and fell to the ground. Chiyun Island. This little brat is actually related to the Purple Cloud King Valley. Looks like he also had a lot of encounters. The woman in the red dress opened her eyes, and a trace of surprise flashed past her eyes. Shen Lingshuang asked anxiously, Sister, how is my master? She smiled and said, He's fine. Your master has already arrived at the Purple Cloud King Valley, and there are already people protecting him. Although he is heavily injured, At least his life is not in danger. As soon as she said this, the prodigies all gasped in shock. Too strong. This Lin Chen was too heaven-defying. One emperor fought against a group of saints, killed 14 saints, and escaped from the hands of 3 fourth-layer saints. Since ancient times, how many legends in the sacred boundary had this kind of ability? Country Lord Fu Xing clicked his tongue in wonder. Who would have thought that Lin Chen would have this kind of relationship? Poison Sage Yu smiled and said, "How impressive. Whether it is the Shintokusho, the Jundok Shuai, or this Lin Chen, this Black Horse Club is a group of monsters." Sigh. Qin Wuming, that brat, how did he attract such a plague to our Qin family? Forget it, let's find another chance. As long as that brat has not truly entered the Saint Realm, we still have a chance. If he does, we won't have another chance to catch him. The Saint Realm experts of the Barbarian Realm and Qin family left angrily. After today's battle, they had seen clearly how heaven-defying this young man was. Without a fourth Heaven True Saints foundation, they did not have the qualifications to hunt him down. However, fourth Heaven True Saints were rare in the 4th grade sect. Even if there were, they would be the last person to hold the fort. It was extremely difficult to mobilize them, not to mention coming out of seclusion for a young man. They had seen the consequences of provoking this brat clearly. The secret pavilion was basically annihilated. The secret pavilion had 8 saints, and 6 of them had fallen while chasing Lin Chen. The 1,000 Gold Association was the same. Since their president had died here, the association was bound to suffer heavy losses. The other 5 saints from the various forces of the mystic realm were no exception. This number of Saint Realm experts had only occurred in the ancient Holy War or the Eternal War. No one had expected that this number would come from a young man on the genius ranking. "I want to see Master." "No, you should return to the palace." "I can't leave the palace for too long." "This time, you should cultivate properly. Only when you're strong can you help your master." Oh, from the beginning to the end, the lady in red did not look at any of the saints on Kirin Cloud Island. She only looked at Ning Qingxian meaningfully before leaving with Shen Lingshuang. Our heavenly ghost divination palace did not make a wrong bet. Next, let's wait for this little guy to become a Saint Realm expert. The ancestor of the heavenly ghost divination palace stroked his beard and laughed. Heavenly Monarch Fu Xing and his entourage flew through the air. He smiled at the Heavenly Ghost Divination Palace's people, masters of fortune-tellers from the mystic realm. Since we're all here to help little friend Lin Chen, it can be said that we're fated to meet each other. Next, when the southern region's Holy Burial Mountain Range opens, shall we go and take a look? The ancestor laughed. Heavenly Ghost Divination Palace's master, I've heard a lot about you. I've heard of the Holy Burial Mountain Range. Since we're here, let's go. Yu Qingli pursed her lips. Father, aren't we going to see young Master Jundok Shuai? The Heavenly Ghost Divination Palace's master smiled and shook his head. That powerful lady said that they already have the protection of the Purple Cloud King Valley. That area is not a place where ordinary people can enter. Without special permission, even I cannot enter. Moreover, I have a feeling that the Black Horse Club will be heading to the Holy Burial Mountain Range. We think alike. Heavenly Ghost Divination Palace's master, please. The two forces looked at each other and the geniuses of Kirin Cloud Island left amidst a wave of sighs and exclamations. After this battle, Lin Chen and the Black Horse Club's names would spread throughout the sacred boundary's younger generation. The geniuses were led to leave one after another. Qing Xian, let's go. Elder Ao Qing took Ning Qingxian away. She said with a serious face, "No, I'm going to the Holy Burial Mountain Range to wait for him." After being unconscious for an unknown period of time, Lin Chen opened his eyes. He was in a secret room. After sensing the injuries all over his body, a wry smile appeared on Lin Chen's face. It looked like the price of using the war god bracers was either a cultivation base with 20 holy points or he had to endure the aftereffects while in the god slayer state. Otherwise, his body would be implicated. What a pity! Most of the storage rings of the dozen or so sages were sliced into pieces by the saber intent of the god's tear. F*ck, I've probably lost 100 million. How could a sage's treasure be so simple? Lin Chen was a little annoyed. His god's tear had swept through the 14 sages, but it had also destroyed all of the storage rings of the sage stage cultivators. The items in the storage rings had basically been reduced to dust, and even the attribute points hadn't dropped by much. At this moment, a playful laugh sounded. Little guy, your vitality is not bad. Although you have the glazed Bodhi seed, you've already woken up after just a few days. An elder in azure robes was already sitting cross-legged in the air within the secret room, sizing him up with interest. Lin Chen said gratefully, "Senior, thank you for saving me." The elder in azure waved his hand. "That's another matter. Let me ask you, how did you get your Zixia royal token, and what's your relationship with its owner? And who are you?" Lin Chen muttered to himself for a moment, then recounted how he had met the little fairy. Of course, he didn't say anything about Lin Xingchen. The elder's expression changed again and again. In the end, when he heard that the little fairy had been frightened but not in danger, he was relieved. He looked at Lin Chen with an interested gaze and said with a smile, "Good boy. You're the Black Horse Club Lin Chen who made a bloodbath on the genius list? I didn't expect you to be friends with the young miss." Chapter 1061. The Black Horse Club's reputation had finally spread to the inner circle of the Purple Cloud King Valley. Lin Chen's achievements in the past were not enough to attract the attention of these super families. Even though Lin Chen had skimmed over some details, this green-clothed elder was not easy to fool. At the very least, this child had a life-and-death relationship with the little demon empress. The green-clothed elder said, "Your current realm is your true cultivation, right?" Lin Chen nodded. "Yes, this junior used a secret technique to barely have the power of the saint realm to deal with the saints." The green-robed old man smiled. "If you can really become a saint this year, then you'll be a true monstrous genius. However, in this world, strength is king. At the very least, you have this trump card. Based on this alone, you won't be inferior to any of the geniuses on the genius ranking. But this trump card of mine can only be used once." Lin Chen laughed bitterly in his heart, then asked, "Senior, how long have I been unconscious?" At this time, the door was pushed open, and another elder in sackcloth entered. He said seriously, 3 days and 3 nights. Your vitality is quite tenacious. Your recovery speed is almost like that of an archaic descendant's cub." The elder in sackcloth had been eavesdropping outside. He was afraid that this kid's relationship with the little demon empress was that kind of relationship. If he was the future son-in-law of the King Valley, then the Purple Cloud King Valley would be turned upside down in an instant. Fortunately, but if those brats knew that Miss gave her royal order to a young boy, I'm afraid they would all go crazy, right? Ha ha. The elder in sackcloth laughed in his heart, but his expression was serious. "Kid, our miss is indebted to you. You don't have to worry about resting here for a while. With us here, not many people in the southern region would dare to touch you." Lin Chen nodded, "Then thank you, senior. This junior just happens to need some time to recover from his injuries. To be able to nurture a little demon empress who was on the genius ranking, it was enough to see how terrifying the Purple Cloud King Valley was." Lin Chen did not doubt his safety at all. After Lin Chen swallowed a few long qingguo, he seemed to have thought of something and asked, "Oh right, seniors, this junior has something to ask?" The green-robed elder nodded and smiled. "You're welcome. Please speak. What's with the sage realm? Why is there such a huge difference between a fourth heaven true saint and a true saint?" The two old men looked at each other and the green-robed old man said with a smile, In order for a war emperor to become a saint, he needs to focus his entire life's effort to open his saint acupoints. It can also be a mental tempering or mental tempering. The more difficult and desperate the tempering, the more it can stimulate one's potential and increase the chances of breaking through to the saint realm. After opening one saint acupoint, one will become a saint. After opening 10 saint acupoints, one will become a saint tier 1 complete saint. After opening 11 saint acupoints, one will become a saint tier 2 complete saint. At the saint tier 2 complete saint acupoints, the amount of saint chi that a saint tier 2 complete saint acupoint can hold is double that of a saint tier 1 complete saint. Every saint point of the third layer is more than double the saint point of the second layer. Therefore, it is extremely difficult to challenge someone of a higher level in the saint realm. The elder nodded solemnly. The difficulty of opening the 31st saint point is no less than the battle emperor becoming a saint. The 31st to the 40th saint point of the 4th heaven true saint realm is known as the expanded point saint realm. In this realm, one needs to expand the space of the subsequent saint points to accommodate more holy chi. The green-robed old man chuckled. Take this old man as an example. My 31st saint acupoint is 4 times the size of a saint acupoint. That means that my 31st saint acupoint can contain 4 times the amount of saint chi when I was in the 3rd heaven true saint realm. In the expanded point saint realm, the first saint point expansion is extremely important because the 32nd to 40th saint points won't exceed the first saint point expansion. At most, it will be equal. Ordinary saints in the expanded point saint realm can expand their saint points by 3 to 5 times. Top geniuses can expand their saint points by 6 times. In this world, there will always be people who exceed common sense. They can break through the shackles of life and expand their saint points multiple times bigger than the first saint point expansion. These geniuses are either in the top 100 of the genius ranking or in the monstrous genius ranking. Lin Chen was enlightened. Every saint point of the 2nd heaven true saint realm contained twice the amount of holy chi compared to the 1st heaven true saint realm. Saint points of the 3rd heaven true saint realm were more than twice the amount of saint points of the 2nd heaven true saint realm. As for the 4th heaven true saint realm, the amount of saint points they could store depended on their strength. If I enter the expanded point saint realm and open 31st to 40th saint points, the total would be 60 times bigger. F***CK. The peak of the 4th heaven true saint realm and the peak of the 3rd heaven true saint realm are not on the same level. Lin Chen smacked his lips inwardly. No wonder the appearance of a 4th heaven true saint realm expert on Kirin Cloud Island was able to strike fear into the hearts of several hundred true saints. Lin Chen then asked about the saint realm. The 2 old seniors' attitude towards him was more polite, and he benefited greatly from it. The 2 old men told him that the saint realm cultivators controlled 100 million dragon energy, which was equivalent to a 1st heaven true saint realm expert opening 1 saint point. At the 2nd heaven true saint realm, 200 million dragon energy was equivalent to 1 saint point. When Lin Chen activated the God Slayer skill, he had 3 billion dragon energy, which was why he was at the peak of the 2nd heaven true saint realm. At the 3rd heaven true saint realm, 500 million dragon energy was equivalent to 1 saint point. For example, if Lin Chen wanted to rely on pure strength to fight against a 3rd heaven true saint realm expert, he would need to control 8 billion dragon energy. Little guy, your foundation is very good, but this old man advises you to focus on cultivating battle chi, and opening saint points is the right path. Firstly, it is extremely difficult to break through to the next realm. Every time the body refinement reaches a new height, there will be fewer and fewer ways to refine the body. Secondly, even if you can control the pure strength of a saint at the same level, it will still be very difficult for you to defeat your opponent. That's because the human race is different from the beast race. The beast race can awaken their bloodline ability and convert their pure strength into killing move. As for the human race, they can obtain holy chi from opening their saint points, and they can cultivate many cultivation techniques and battle technique. However, there are very few body refinement battle techniques in the human race, and they lack flexibility in battle. The only advantage is that they can last for a long time. However, no matter how strong you are in a battle of attrition, you will be exhausted to death if you can't hit your opponent. The blue-clothed old man tried to persuade him. Lin Chen nodded and smiled. Thank you for Senior's advice. This junior understands. We humans are still humans, and we don't have the innate advantages of vicious beasts. Body refinement is only icing on the cake. Opening saint points to obtain holy chi is the way to go. Lin Chen could understand the old man's advice, but that was only applicable to ordinary people. He had the attribute collection system. As long as he had the blood vitality attribute, there was no shortage of body refinement paths. Not to mention, he also had the Dragon Emperor with many bloodlines. Body refinement was extremely important to him. Cultivating saint points and body refinement, Lin Chen wouldn't leave a single one behind. He wanted them all. It's good that you understand. The sacred burial mountain range is about to open, and the two of us have a lot of things to deal with. The blue-clothed old man rubbed his temples. Before he finished speaking, Lin Chen excitedly stood up. His wounds hurt so much that he gasped for air. He asked, Senior, are you talking about the sacred burial mountain range? Don't you know? The sacred burial mountain range is a damned place, and the miasma is about to dissipate. In about half a month, the miasma will dissipate for a period of time. In the past, too many saints fell in the holy war. Many saints don't dare to enter anymore. This time, I'm afraid those old fellows will send out a large number of monster-level geniuses to explore. Chapter 1062. Elder Qing's words made Lin Chen fall into deep thought. Miss Xiaomeng told me that her mother's previous master was the Sky Prime Battle Saint, who was good at swordsmanship. He died in the depths of the sacred burial mountain range. Before he left, he gave me a fragment of the sacred helmet, which was engraved with his saint aura. As long as I am within a certain range, I will be able to sense his location. According to Xiaomeng's mother's last words, the Sky Prime Battle Saint was comprehending the remnant of the Tai Futian scripture, but he had not completely studied it. This time, it is related to the Tai Futian scripture. Even if I have to go through the 18 layers of hell, I will still go. Seeing the strong fighting spirit in Lin Chen's eyes, the old man smiled and said, Looking at you, I think you will also join in. With your strength, you will not return empty-handed. It's getting late. You should take the time to recuperate. When you walk around the Purple Cloud King Valley, use this green jade token. Keep the king token that Miss Xiaomeng gave you well. Don't take it out easily. Otherwise, it will cause a lot of trouble. The old man threw a green token to Lin Chen. Lin Chen solemnly cupped his fists and said, Thank you for your care, Senior. After the two old men left, Lin Chen recovered from his injuries. He was pleasantly surprised to find that after the previous accumulation and the fierce battle with the Saint Realm experts, his spiritual energy had broken through to the half-step Saint Realm. Half-step Saint Realm. Ordinary alchemists would have to reach this realm before they were qualified to try to refine a saint pill. Of course, the success rate was still low. However, Lin Chen, who had the +15 Genesis Holy Scripture, was an exception. Lin Chen ordered his doppelganger to enter the state of cultivation and opened the system. Heavenly Path Possession System version 6. 0 Host. Lin Chen. Cultivation. 4 Tribulation Battle Emperor, Peak of the 4th Tribulation. High-grade Essence. 59 million points limit Strength. 99. 99 million Dragon Power. High-grade Blood Essence. 6. 88 million points. High-grade spirit attribute, 6,046 points. Half-step saint realm, high-grade cultivation technique essence, 13,011 points. High-grade rune energy, 9,641 points. Mid-grade heavenly path, 14,557 points. Mid-grade talent points, 13,602 points. Blank attributes, 344 million points. Strengthening points, 21. 68 million points. Advanced elemental energy. Fire 5,914 points, Earth 5,311 points, Wood 5,500 points, Metal 5,566 points, Water 5,988 points, Thunder 5,119 points, Wind 5,969 points, Light 4,155 points, Dark 4,991 points. Cultivation method status column, open. Bloodline status column, open. Passive talent column, open/not. Ultimate skill column, open/not. Active talent column, open. Characteristic rune column, open. Talent combination skill, open or not. Over 20 million strengthening points. It could be said to be a huge sum. All of Lin Chen's non-growth attribute values were abnormally high. Even though the Godslayer state would reduce the drop rate of non-growth type light orbs, Lin Chen's attribute points still dropped at a frightening rate after slaughtering 14 saints. This enhancement point is enough for me to raise my combat power by another level. Lin Chen was excited. Next, Lin Chen spent 7 million strengthening points in one go. Vanishing Shadow Flying Dagger plus 15, Imperial Sky plus 15, Sword Fury Raises the Sky plus 15, Genesis Holy Scripture plus 15, Moon Mirror plus 15, Annihilation plus 15, 7 Ultimate Strength plus 15. Lin Chen had strengthened all his main cultivation methods to plus 15. As for God's Tears, Lin Chen had not mastered it yet, so he could not strengthen it. He could only strengthen the cultivation methods that the host had mastered. In addition, although Lin Chen had mastered God's Tears, he had to borrow the opportunity of the Godslayer talent to learn it. If Lin Chen used God's Tears with his current cultivation, it would not be his saber chi that would be destroyed, but his meridians. He would have to reach the 5th tribulation to barely use God's Tears. Therefore, the half-orange grade cultivation method was still Lin Chen's main combat power at this stage. The sacred burial mountain range was of utmost importance. Lin Chen could not afford any mishaps. My spirit power has a feeling of being as deep as the sea. It's more than one level stronger than before. The plus 15 Genesis Holy Scripture and the half-step Saint Spirit power have brought me a transformation. My alchemy skills have improved by more than 3 or 4 times. Lin Chen was surprised by the change in his spirit power. The Genesis Holy Scripture allowed him to control the spirit power of a saint-grade alchemist in advance. The plus 15 Genesis Holy Scripture was even more powerful, not to mention that Lin Chen's spirit power had broken through. Lin Chen was almost certain that as long as his spirit power reached divine transcendence, his spirit control would reach an extremely terrifying level. His alchemy skills would improve by leaps and bounds. 218 Advanced Cultivation Method Soul Essences consumed. Integrating the half-orange grade alchemy handprint, True Dragon Divine Hand, using the combination of Dragon Force, Battle Force, and Spiritual Energy to refine pills. Using strength to control the materials, Qi to flow through the 9 heavens, and spiritual energy to reverse. If the user has the bloodline of a true dragon and sufficient spiritual energy, the power of this pill refining handprint will be comparable to an orange handprint. Lin Chen was shocked when he integrated the True Dragon Divine Hand's cultivation memories. This alchemy handprint could use pure power to assist alchemy. It could also use the True Dragon bloodline to refine pills. However, Lin Chen's winged dragon and azure dragon bloodline could only be considered as a side branch of the true dragon bloodline. It's already very difficult to cultivate a top-tier purple-grade handprint. This half-orange grade alchemy handprint has 100,000 combinations of handprints. Every one of them is very mysterious and has a high auxiliary effect when refining a saint-grade pill. It's indeed something that even saints would fight over. Lin Chen and his clone healed their injuries and integrated the alchemy handprint cultivation memories. A group of people stood in the main hall of the Azure Valley. The two men in white leading the group had cold expressions. I heard that a special guest came to our King Valley. He has the lady's royal token and he's a man? The lady was born to be a supreme being. How could she give the royal token to a man? I don't believe it either. I think it's very likely that this guy cheated her. A man with red eyebrows slammed the table angrily. The hall shook and he stood up angrily. Damn it. How can this person have the lady's royal token? I'll go and meet him. The young man in white sitting at the head of the table had a dignified appearance. He said indifferently, "That's enough. You're already panicking. With Elder Qing and Elder Qian here, do you dare to touch him?" Everyone looked fearful. He can't keep hiding like a turtle. Let's wait and find an opportunity. I'll let him know that the lady is not someone he can get close to. The young man in white had a murderous look on his face. Recovery, cultivation, learning. Lin Chen spent 4 days in the Purple Cloud King Valley. On the 8th day, Lin Chen came out of seclusion. Purple Cloud King Valley, Purple Border Valley. Lin Chen strolled on the street. There were many merchants and merchant groups doing business here. The Purple Cloud King Valley's disciples were here to purchase resources. Although the Purple Cloud King Valley was big, cultivation was always a waste of resources. Thus, they would periodically allow merchants to do business here. At this time, the young disciples on the streets were dumbfounded when they saw a young man in front of a shop. That young man actually bid 4 million Saint Origin coins right off the bat. The skinny man nodded and smiled. Young master is really generous. 4 million to buy all of our merchant group's Tiani holy water. The gentle girl in white smiled and said, "How is it, big brother Lin Chen? I told you that this place has the most treasures in the Purple Cloud King Valley. I didn't lie to you, right?" Lin Chen nodded and smiled. "And it's really not bad." The girl in white beside Lin Chen was called Li Shui. She was a blue-ranked disciple of the Purple Cloud King Valley. When Elder Qian said that he wanted to find a disciple to lead Lin Chen, she immediately accepted the task. The Purple Cloud King Valley wasn't comparable to the outside world. There were many forbidden grounds that outsiders were forbidden from entering. Those who violated the rules would be executed immediately. In order to prevent Lin Chen from entering the forbidden grounds, they needed someone from the same family to lead the way. Seeing that Lin Chen was satisfied, Li Shui's delicate face was dyed red. She smiled and chatted with Lin Chen. Her beautiful eyes were filled with curiosity and admiration. Since ancient times, heroes loved beauties and beauties loved heroes. Li Shui came from the Purple Cloud King Valley and had high standard. However, she had never heard of anyone who dared to kill a man on the genius list. He even took the young Mrs. Token. She was extremely curious about Lin Chen. "I will use 30% of the market price to buy all the odd crystal fragments in your merchant group." Then Lin Chen said something shocking to the skinny monkey-like man. 30% of the market price? The merchant was stunned and thought that he heard wrongly. Good. Please wait a moment, young master." He was ecstatic and his attitude was as though he was about to kneel down to Lin Chen. Just as he was about to turn around and prepare for Lin Chen. "I will pay 50% of the market price. I will take all the odd crystal fragments." A disdainful and arrogant voice suddenly interrupted all the astonishment. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. Someone wants to cause trouble? Chapter 1063. Lin Chen bought all the odd crystal fragments so that he could create as many killing techniques as possible before entering the sacred burial mountain range. Someone had overbid him and wanted to buy all the odd crystal fragments of the merchant group. Normally speaking, even a saint wouldn't be able to refine so many odd crystal fragments. It was obvious that the other party was here to cause trouble. Lin Chen touched his chin and raised his eyebrows. This person doesn't come with good intentions, but this is the little demon empress territory. As long as the other party doesn't go overboard, I will tolerate it. The person who came was dressed in white and had an imposing appearance. He had the aura of an elegant young master, and there were 4 young geniuses behind him. Each of them was a 5th tribulation combat emperor. Li Shui whispered to Lin Chen, "It's young Master Ziyu, Prince Lin Chen. Be careful, he might be here to target you. He is ranked 10,001st on the genius list." Lin Chen smiled but didn't say anything. He had a cynical look on his face. Young Master Ziyu came before Lin Chen. His eyebrows were like swords and his eyes were like stars. A sharp light flashed through his eyes as he coldly questioned, "You're Lin Chen from the Black Horse Club?" Lin Chen smiled. "I'll have to trouble young master to remember my name." The 4 young geniuses behind young Master Ziyu glared angrily and looked like they were about to rush up and fight Lin Chen. Ziyu's lips curled into a disdainful smile. "Cut the crap. If you want the odd crystal fragments, I won't give it to you. I am a rank 8 alchemist. Do you think you have the financial resources to compete with a rank 8 alchemist?" Ziyu's words made many people's faces change. They were shocked and shocked. Young Master Ziyu actually broke through to a rank 8 alchemist, oh my god! I've heard that young Master Ziyu's mental strength was half a step into the saint realm 10 years ago. I didn't expect him to become a rank 8 alchemist so quickly. This is probably the youngest 8th level alchemist in the history of Purple Cloud King Valley. Ziyu's face became even more arrogant when he heard the exclamations around him. "Lin Chen, don't say that I didn't give you face. Hand over young Mrs. Order and I won't make things difficult for you. I'll even give you 20 odd crystal fragments. Otherwise, not only will you not be able to purchase anything in the Violet Realm Valley, you might even encounter some misfortune after leaving the Violet Cloud King Valley." This young Master Ziyu had an overbearing appearance as soon as he arrived, using an almost charitable tone to inform Lin Chen. "You want to exchange 20 odd crystal fragments for the little demon empress unique purple cloud token? Was this young man living in a dream?" The atmosphere was tense. Lin Chen shook his head and laughed. "This young master, I have no enmity with you, so you don't have to make things difficult for me. I respect you as a disciple of the Purple Cloud King Valley and will give you some face. I just want to buy something here and leave. I'm already being polite enough. Outside, anyone who dares to act like this in front of me will be crippled at the very least and die without a complete corpse." Lin Chen was neither servile nor overbearing. He flicked his fingernails and laughed. "Is a rank 8 alchemist very impressive? My Black Horse Club has a rank 8 alchemist on average, and you have the cheek to show off your skills?" Many disciples' faces changed as soon as he said that. "Rank 8 alchemist on average? You're bragging like this, but you're not even famous at all." The sacred boundary was extremely vast, and the fastest news to spread was Lin Chen's achievement of massacring the genius list. It would take some time for the 4-way conference's performance to spread to even further places in the sacred boundary. To these disciples who had been cultivating in the King Valley and Mystic Realms all year round, they didn't know much about the Black Horse Club. "You?" Young Master Ziyu's handsome face was filled with anger. The 4 geniuses behind him immediately stood up and berated him. "Dog, show some respect to young Master Ziyu." Lin Chen narrowed his eyes and said softly, "Scram? Rumble." This shout of scram carried a terrifying amount of spiritual energy that penetrated through that genius's battle chi defense, causing his spiritual energy to shake violently. His eardrums burst, and blood flowed out of his ears. He rolled on the ground and screamed in agony. The three geniuses were shocked and angry, but fighting was prohibited here and they didn't dare to use their battle chi. If they used spiritual power, that would be Lin Chen's forte. Young Master Ziyu was shocked. He also has half-step saint spiritual power? Lin Chen couldn't be bothered with those noisy fellows and said to the skinny man, "I'll pay 70% of the market price to buy all the odd crystal fragments from your Chamber of Commerce and the nearby merchant group. Hurry up, I'm in a hurry." The skinny man suppressed his ecstasy and bowed respectfully. "Yes. I'll go prepare immediately." Suddenly, Ziyu said, "Then I'll pay 80% of the market price." Lin Chen frowned. "Damn, this bastard just won't go away." Although he had a lot of silver Saint Origin coins, it didn't mean that he could squander them as he wished. He still had to buy other resources. Ziyu stared at Lin Chen and said word by word, "Hee, you don't want me to lower your price. Do you dare to compete with me?" Lin Chen clenched his fists and suddenly smiled. "How do we compete?" Seeing Lin Chen's harmless smile, Ziyu was on his guard. This bastard was able to massacre the genius list on Rainbow Island. Although it might be due to luck, he must have some trump cards. Although I'm ranked 10001, I might not be able to take him down. Ziyu thought for a moment and sneered. "Let's compete in alchemy. How about it? Didn't you say that everyone in the Black Horse Club is a rank 8 alchemist? Do you dare to bet?" Lin Chen was a little impatient. "I don't have that much time to refine a rank 8 sacred pill with you." Compete in alchemy? Lin Chen wasn't afraid, but he didn't have the time now. There were only 7 or 8 days left before the miasma in the sacred burial mountain range completely dissipated. Even if he could use all his clones to refine a rank 8 sacred pill, it would consume a lot of energy and mind, and it would be difficult to maintain his peak state. Of course it won't be a competition in refining a rank 8 sacred pill. An alchemist's standard can be seen from their alchemy skills. If we compete in alchemy skills, we will use a top rank 7 pill as the standard. No pill furnace is allowed and only one hand can be used. Within 3 hours, whoever refines a top rank 7 pill first will be the winner. If both sides succeed, we will use the grade of the pill to determine who wins. How about it? If you lose, young Miss Token will belong to me. If I lose, I will pay for all the odd crystal fragments for you. Ziyu's words stirred up 1,000 waves. Oh my god, within 4 hours? It's fine if you can't use a pill furnace, but you can only use one hand? This is too ridiculous. Forming a seal with one hand to refine the pill will consume mental power and increase the difficulty by several times. The combination of the two will increase the difficulty in a straight line. At least with my alchemy skills, I don't even dare to think about it. All the geniuses were astounded, and they instantly felt that this competition was extremely absurd. Li Shui was anxious as if she knew something and wanted to stop Lin Chen. "Okay, it's settled then. You quickly go and prepare the odd crystal fragment." Lin Chen smiled playfully. Ziyu revealed a confident smile, as if he had everything under control, and laughed proudly in his heart. "Idiot, ha ha. This young master's new alchemy hand seal is to form a seal with one hand and then combine the seals to refine the pill. Kid, you're going to lose." Chapter 1064. Purple Realm Valley, Bluestone Arena. Outside the Bluestone Arena, there was a sea of people. Today was the day of a special duel. Chen Ziyu versus Lin Chen. On one side was the top prodigy of Purple Cloud King Valley, ranked 10,001st on the genius ranking, the youngest 8th-tier alchemist. On the other side was the vice director of the Black Horse Club, Lin Chen, who had recently been in the limelight and had massacred the genius ranking. The content of their duel was actually refining pills with one hand without a pill furnace. This kind of duel was unprecedented. Any alchemist would know the difficulty of this duel. Using the alchemy hand seals with both hands could deal with any situation, while refining pills. But refining pills with one hand was as difficult as asking a normal person to walk with one leg. One leg was already the limit, and to walk like a normal person, the difficulty was not as simple as 2-1. Not to mention not using a pill furnace. That's Lin Chen? Heh, he's much younger than I thought. I reckon that only the people from the inner valley can suppress this Lin Chen. According to the rumors, this Lin Chen is in possession of the young Miss Purple Cloud Royal Token. What? How could Miss Royal Token be given to him? Miss said that only men she approved of would be given the Purple Cloud Royal Token. Word spread like wildfire, and the news that Lin Chen had the little demon Empress Purple Cloud Royal Token immediately spread to everyone's ears. Then, gazes filled with jealousy and killing intent were directed at Lin Chen. Over 10,000 Purple Cloud King Valley prodigies wanted to denounce Lin Chen. Lin Chen crossed his arms and whistled. "What are you doing, staring at me like a bull's egg? You don't have to be so obvious even if you're jealous of my good looks, right? Damn. He's too damn arrogant. Damn, it's a pity that the inner valley prodigies aren't here, or else he wouldn't have the chance to be so arrogant. Elder Cousin Ziyu, torture him to death." Everyone shouted with red faces and thick neck. Those who didn't know would think that it was a martial duel. In the air, 3 saints stood side by side. A man in red robes laughed. "This duel is a little interesting." The 2 sack-clothed old men laughed one after another. "This brat is probably a tier 8 alchemist too. However, it should be Ziyu who is a notch better. Ziyu has set a trap for him. Even I may not be Ziyu's match in this duel. His alchemy hand seals have a natural advantage." The crimson-robed man looked deeply at Lin Chen, who had a frivolous expression on his face, and he chuckled. "Is that so? In fact, I'm more optimistic about this brat. There are only a handful of 4th Heaven True Saints in the Inner Valley who can provoke such a lineup." Bluestone Arena. "Prince Lin Chen, you were too rash. I've heard that young Master Ziyu seems to have inherited his family's Lightning Saint Recovery Seal. This alchemy seal is half orange level, and it's famous for its speed and the ability to combine 2 seals with one hand. Prince Lin Chen, you're playing right into his hands." Li Shui worriedly transmitted her voice to Lin Chen outside the arena, who knew that Lin Chen would wink at her flirtatiously, causing Li Shui's heart to beat faster. Lin Chen replied with a smile, "Don't worry. Since he provoked me, I'll trample on his pride." Chen Ziyu, who was standing 100 zhang away from Lin Chen, said with contempt, "Sir Lin Chen, are you ready?" Lin Chen didn't say a word. Instead, he made a peace sign at Chen Ziyu with a smug expression. "Humph." Chen Ziyu shot out a stream of battle chi, hitting the hourglass beside the arena. The countdown began. Whoosh! With a wave of his hand, he opened his storage ring, and hundreds of herbs floated in the air. Lightning hand flash. Spiritual force surged from Chen Ziyu's fingers, and lightning snaked around them. In a flash, he grabbed over 100 herbs and a tier 7 beast core. Everyone couldn't help but hold their breaths as they watched. Alchemy duels were common in the Purple Cloud Valley, where geniuses gathered. However, this was the first time a duel without using an alchemy furnace was happening. Chen Ziyu's fingers formed a seal, and afterimages appeared. Under the control of his spiritual force, the lightning snaked around the herbs, accurately picking out and removing the outer skin of the herbs. Then, the lightning condensed and began to remove the impurities of the herbs, crushing some of the herbs and squeezing out the essence of the energy. The whole process was so smooth that it was dazzling. Outside the arena, there was a series of gasps and exclamations. "Oh my God, am I seeing this right? This is a real seal made with one hand. Cousin Ziyu is really the #1 alchemist in the King Valley. Amazing! Without an alchemy furnace, stabilizing the herbs is even more difficult. Not to mention the amount of spiritual force required to form a seal with one hand. When the two are combined, the difficulty is directly increased, and he can still perform the alchemy steps so steadily. The proud and arrogant disciples of the King's Valley were also subdued by this mysterious method. Just based on this, it was definitely something that only an 8th-rank alchemist could do. And even an 8th-rank alchemist might not be able to do it as well as Chen Ziyu. On the other hand, Lin Chen didn't move at all. With a smile on his face, he even commented on Chen Ziyu. His hand speed is very fast. There are calluses and protrusions, and there is also lightning between the friction. It can be said that it has a natural paralyzing effect. If it was introduced to other clubs, it could barely be considered a second-rate alchemist. Lin Chen's tone made the geniuses outside the arena angry, and they couldn't help but curse. Motherf ** Ker, who do you think you are to criticize Cousin Ziyu? Lin Chen, if you don't have the ability, don't stand there. Quickly get down and kowtow to Brother Ziyu to apologize. Chen Ziyu ignored Lin Chen and only looked at him with disdain. Whether or not Lin Chen was an 8th-rank alchemist, he couldn't win against him under these conditions. Ignoring the clamor of the crowd, Lin Chen waved his hand and the herbs appeared. Finally, he was going to start refining. He didn't lack 7th-rank herbs. The 3 spirit plants of Providence at their peak would produce a large amount of 7th-rank herbs and silver saint origin coins every day. Lin Chen would use most of the 7th-rank herbs to refine 7th-rank pills to feed Little Shadow. He would never complain about having too many pills. Little Shadow was a perfect life form, but its only flaw was that it was always a glutton. It consumed a lot of energy and liked things with high energy like pills and silver saint origin coins. As the herbs floated in the air, Lin Chen had a cynical smile on his face. He actually flirtatiously made a peace sign and chuckled. My hand speed is very fast as the most handsome alchemist of the Black Horse Club and the most handsome person in the Sacred Boundary. I, Lin Chen, have skills that can make fairies descend to the mortal world and peach juices explode. After that, Lin Chen even made a peace sign and smiled. I live next door. My surname is Lin. If you have any problems, I'll climb over your wall. If you have any problems, you can look for old Lin. I've been focusing on my skills for 30 years. I feel good about it. As soon as he finished speaking, the spiritual light of the blue flowing water condensed on Lin Chen's fingertip. With a light stroke of his 2 fingers, it was as if a blue wave of water swept across the void, and the faint roar of a dragon reverberated. Whoosh! The spiritual herbs quickly gathered and started to refine hundreds of 7th-rank herbs. The shells were peeled off, and the impurities were removed. At this moment, the whole place was greeted with a strange silence. In the green stone arena, Lin Chen's palms kept turning, and his 2 fingers moved quickly. Other than spiritual power and battle aura, there was also a bit of pure strength hidden in the seals. Whoosh! Pure strength crushed more than a dozen herbs, and the strength was just right. His spiritual power extracted the essence, purified, and refined more herbs smoothly without any mistakes or flaws. The geniuses who were clamoring for Lin Chen to get off the stage looked as if they had seen a ghost. Many people's mouths trembled, and the back of their heads felt as if it had exploded. 2 fingers? I am really not drunk, right? Oh my God, he's refining herbs with only 2 fingers? This is King ridiculous. Chen Ziyu refining herbs with one hand is amazing? This King Black Horse Club's Lin Chen refining herbs with only 2 fingers, that's ridiculous. Sensing Chen Ziyu's astonished gaze, Lin Chen, who was on the green stone arena, gave Chen Ziyu an incomparably coquettish smile. Can you be more flirtatious than I, Lin Chen? A girl blushed and stared at Lin Chen as if she was dreaming. His fingers are so nimble and fast, sob, sob, sob. Chapter 1065. When the two elders in the sky saw the scene on stage, it was as if they were struck by lightning. They were dumbstruck. Dumbfounded. Everyone was dumbfounded. When they saw Chen Ziyu refining pills with one hand, they were simply amazed. Some of the girls who adored him even screamed out loud. However, the moment Lin Chen made his move, only then did they know where the word outrageous came from. This Lin Chen was 2F** king ridiculous, using 2 fingers to refine a 7th grade medicinal pill? And he didn't even use a pill furnace. How did he do it? Outside the arena, Li Shui covered her red lips with her hand. She couldn't hide the shock in her eyes. Seeing him use 2 fingers to form the alchemy hand seals, refining pills as smoothly as flowing water, all of the alchemist geniuses present went crazy. It's fake, it must be fake. I'm seeing things, tell me I'm hallucinating. How can we refine pills? F***ck. They had painstakingly practiced alchemy for so many years and finally became 7th level alchemists. In the end, they couldn't even compare to 2 of his fingers? Even Chen Ziyu, who was highly concentrated, was frightened by this scene. His throat made a strange gugugus sound like an owl. He over-refined more than 10 types of ingredients and directly wasted them. Chen Ziyu hurriedly stabilized the 100 types of ingredients that he had refined. He was sweating profusely as he shouted in his heart. It's not over yet. This competition is beneficial to me. Everything will be decided by the final result. As long as the quality of my pills is better than his, it's fine. We're both 8th level alchemists. He can't win against me with just 2 fingers. Calm down, I must calm down. The 2 of them continued to refine the other ingredient. But now everyone had shut up. Everyone could see that Lin Chen had the qualifications to compete with Chen Ziyu. He might even surpass the former by a large margin. But the question was, how did Lin Chen do it? Lin Chen whistled at Chen Ziyu and joked, "Do you know what the highest level of alchemy is?" Chen Ziyu's face was livid. "Stop bragging. Don't make it sound like you've already won. The final deciding factor is the quality of the pill. What can you do with those 2 fingers of yours?" Lin Chen laughed heartily. "Ha ha ha, you'll understand in the future. I'll prove to all alchemists that something like alchemy can be done in my Black Horse Club." The 2 hemp-clothed old men on the void spectator stand lost their composure and cried out in shock. His control of spiritual energy is very strange. Even I can't do it as flexibly as him. It's too strange. This kid must have a top-grade spirit-type secret manual on him. Otherwise, it would be impossible to achieve such a miraculous feat. Look at his alchemy hand seals, they're not ordinary either. To actually be able to control pure physical strength and mental strength to concoct medicine together, this is simply unimaginable. This kid is simply monstrous to the point of defying the heavens. The man with red eyebrows stroked his chin and clicked his tongue in wonder. No wonder you're the young man favored by the young lady. You're really heaven-defying. The Black Horse Club. Interesting, very interesting. Ah. I'm afraid those little guys in the inner valley will make a scene when they come back. Under Lin Chen's miraculous 2-finger alchemy, a few hours passed in the blink of an eye. 10 breaths before the golden sand in the hourglass ran out, both of them had finished concocting the pill at the same time. A top-grade 7th grade pill, the wind-shadow separation pill. Chen Ziyu was sweating profusely as he raised the pill in his hand. However, in the next moment, everyone's eyes were focused on the light blue pill between Lin Chen's 2 fingers. Lin Chen flicked his finger at Chen Ziyu and shot the pill in front of him. He said with a faint smile, "A top-grade 7th grade pill, the Snow Marrow Mind Cleansing Pill. It can purify one's battle chi and strengthen one's foundation. It also has the effect of purifying one's battle chi, and has a 20% chance of breaking through the bottleneck of the 5th Tribulation Combat Emperor. If you're not convinced, take a look at it yourself." The corners of the alchemist's mouths twitched again. "What? A top-grade 7th grade pill. So the pill he's concocting is not only a top-grade 7th grade pill, but also a top-grade 7th grade pill. And he's using 2 fingers? Chen Ziyu clenched his fists and trembled in fear. His eyes were bloodshot as he stared at the pill in front of him, and the corners of his mouth twitched. No, impossible, Lin Chen shrugged and said indifferently, so many people here have seen me concoct it, and there are also 2 8th grade alchemists in the void. How could it be fake? You there, prepare the odd crystal fragment. Just put it on young Master Chen's tab. Lin Chen waved his hand at the skinny man, and the latter respectfully handed a storage ring to Lin Chen. Lin Chen took the storage ring and sucked the pill back into his palm. He waved his hand without looking back, and his cynical laughter echoed in the field. I've said before, is an 8th grade alchemist that awesome? In my Black Horse Club, this is the most basic standard that everyone knows. Remember this and don't be so cocky next time. Chen Ziyu was in a daze and couldn't accept reality at all. His face was as pale as paper. He could accept his loss, but he couldn't accept that he had lost so miserably. Many of the veteran alchemists outside the field were shocked and couldn't calm down for a long time. Lin Chen from the Black Horse Club had refreshed everyone's understanding of alchemy. An alchemist who could concoct a top-grade 7th grade pill could do well in the sacred boundary and obtain a high status in the 3rd grade and 4th grade sections. There were many strong people in the sacred boundary, and cultivation relied on the accumulation of resources. Alchemists were highly sought after everywhere. However, the realm that they spent their entire lives to reach was actually achieved by a youth with 2 fingers? Many geniuses stared at Lin Chen's back view as he left the green stone arena, and their eyes were dazed and amazed. Rumor has it that the Black Horse Club's style of doing things is unique. Today my eyes have been opened. This is too ridiculous. He used 2 fingers to defeat the youngest 8th grade alchemist in our Purple Cloud King Valley. This is too heaven-defying. This is the leader of the Black Horse Club who led a bloodbath on the genius rankings. None of the proud geniuses of the King Valley were convinced. This youth was terrifyingly strong, ridiculously strong. After looking around the Purple Cloud King Valley, Lin Chen sold a Saint Artifact forging scroll and an 8th grade pill recipe to buy 23 top-grade purple grade technique. He needed more techniques to fuse with the 2nd orange grade battle technique. At the same time, Lin Chen also used 150 Longqingguo, 100 bottles of clear jade dew, and 60 million Saint Origin coins to buy a large number of 8th grade treasures. Prince Lin Chen, you're really too strong. Li Shui was like a chirping little bird as she circled around Lin Chen. Her beautiful eyes were twinkling like little stars as she stared at him with eyes full of worship. Didn't you see those unruly fellows just now? They were all intimidated by young master. In the Violet Cloud King Valley, only the big shots in the inner valley can do that. Lin Chen said seriously, it's not that strong. Actually, I've already done my best. He had indeed done his best. Lin Chen had used the half-orange grade alchemy technique, True Dragon Divine Hand. This time, Lin Chen was able to refine pills with just 2 fingers because of the plus 15 Taisher Holy Scripture, which allowed him to control his mental energy to reach perfection. Together with the True Dragon Divine Hands, which used pure strength to refine pills, he was able to achieve this. The limit of refining pills with 2 fingers was that he could only refine 7th grade pills. In order to refine 8th grade pills, Lin Chen had to use all his strength. If he wanted to refine a divine pill, he would have to use a furnace. I wonder if I'll be able to achieve the highest realm of acting cool in refining pills when I step into the divine realm. It's worth looking forward to. Consumed 788 intermediate heavens path points to decompose 188 types of grade 8 treasures of heaven and earth. Obtained 54 wood energy, 39 metal energy, 29 light energy, 22 darkness energy, 47 Fire Energy. Lin Chen chose the simplest and most brutal way to increase his strength, which was to decompose a large number of 8th-grade herbs. Even though it was a waste of resources, it was related to the Tai Fu Tian technique, so he had to give it his all. Consumed 466 intermediate heaven path points, decomposed 79 odd crystal fragments. Obtained attribute points: 22 water energy, 31 earth energy, 36 fire energy. Obtained special attribute points: only 79 odd crystal fragments? Seems like not all business groups are willing to sell them to me. It's impossible for them to sell all their odd crystal fragments to me. Their main customers are the disciples of Purple Cloud King Valley. If they sell all of them to me, they will lose future customers. However, there's no time. I have to go to the sacred burial mountain range soon. In the end, Lin Chen created 14 intermediate blue rank sure kill skills and 9 advanced blue rank sure kill skills. Prince Lin Chen, are you leaving so soon? Outside the Purple Valley, Li Shui was reluctant to leave. Time waits for no one. This is for you. Lin Chen smiled at her and flicked his finger. 2 jade bottles fell into Li Shui's arms. One bottle contained the dazzling Long Qingguo, and the other bottle contained the Snow Essence mind-cleansing pill. The woman was stunned. When she looked back, the young man had already disappeared outside the Purple Valley. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.